That boy is good.
Good and terrible.
Well, I have a microphone, and you don't. So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
This is the Mike Rutherford Show on the Big X.
Sportos and motorheads, geek bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
Welcome to the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration. Call United Mechanical at 502-339-1133.
All right. Welcome in, everybody. It is Monday, September 29th. This is the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus. We're coming to you live from the world-famous University of Louisville College of Business studio here in the heart of victorious Louisville, Kentucky. Cards fans, you can take your career to new heights with an MBA from the University of Louisville. The full-time MBA is an innovative 12-month program that accelerates your career trajectory with convenient in-person evening classes. Competitive 11-month paid internship opportunities provide you with valuable industry experience. It's the MBA that pays. Get started today, and you can earn your degree in just 1 year. The first step is visiting business.louisville.edu. We're on the air today from 2:32 till 5:30 here on 1450 AM, 96.1 FM, streaming across the internet, including on YouTube, airing on television on WBNA Channel 21. You know us better as the Big X. Mike Rutherford, Roman Kelly here on a Monday edition of the show. And, folks, we've had few Victory Mondays in the history of this show that have been as sweet as this one. An all-time sports weekend for your boy, an all-time sports weekend for a lot of people listening. I mean, just, personally, it's my name's on the show. I can say it. Reds playoffs, Lions roll, Cards with a historic comeback victory. These are the weekends you dream about when it's June 26th and there's nothing going on and it's hot and it's gross and you're feeling deprived. You're dreaming of a fall weekend where everything seems to be going your way. And that's how this weekend went. Thank you, Roman. It's perfect. I know not everybody had the dream scenario that I did, but most of you listening at least had the Cards winning, also Kentucky getting rocked, which felt great Saturday night. Nice little bonus schadenfreude for Saturday evening. But, man, we've had an outrageously high number of reactive texts on this show every Monday that we've had since the season started back at the beginning of September. I can't imagine what we're going to get into today. This was an all-time chaotic game on Saturday, top-tier chaos game. So much to get into. These are the types of shows where we could do 8 hours on everything that happened over the weekend and everything that may happen in the days to come. I mean, now all of a sudden you've got a Louisville team hosting a ranked opponent this weekend with Virginia. Told you that's something for Florida State. Feel pretty good about that one. Did not call much else correctly this weekend outside of my favorite teams playing. But, man, lots to get to today. We'll hear from you on the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. Whatever is on your mind after this crazy performance on Saturday afternoon, we will hear it. Before we do that, though, we hear from our guy, Roman Kelly. You just heard him on Running with Roman. You'll hear him again on the Dalton Pence Show from 5:30 to 7 this evening after we sign off. Roman Kelly, how are we, buddy? How we feeling?
I'm feeling great, Mike. I'm excited to be in here and talking about another Cardinal victory, 4-0. On the path to being ranked, on the path to being 5-0, having beat a ranked team.
I don't even care about being ranked. I'm saying it. I don't even care. Undefeated, outside the top 25. Just keep us unranked. I'm good with it.
I'm not mad at it. I'm feeling really good about this team, though, and through what you can feel good about through how many, I think, different scenarios that could have played out with the different issues that this team's having across the things that they can't control, like injuries. And the offensive line not being what it was across the board pretty much. Team still finds a way to go get the job done, go get a victory. Defense looks amazing. Shout out to TJ Quinn. That's how I'm starting the show, Mike.
Oh, I like it.
Shout out TJ Quinn. People put question marks on you about your ability to do the right things in pass coverage, and this is how you respond. 3 of them things.
Well, 2 of them things.
Oh, that's right.
Should have been 3.
Should have been 3.
He dropped the easiest one.
In my head, he got that one for some reason. But he was all over the place. He had an amazing game. Could have had it like one of the best Louisville defensive-sided games we've ever seen from an individual if he would have had that third one. But super excited to see the defense play like that through all the chaos, through all the nonsense, through all the penalties. Still staying locked in through the entirety of the game. The touchdown, the one touchdown before half, I had an issue with that one. Didn't like that one at all. But overall, Mike, I'm feeling really good. The PT, physical therapist said, doctor's probably going to unlock the brace tomorrow, and based on how strong the knee's looking, he might even take the brace off tomorrow.
My God.
I don't know how I really feel about that. I had the brace off last night for just for the getting ready, the shower, getting ready for bed aspect of the night. Like 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, hold on. This is why I'm wearing the brace. Started feeling a little bit uncomfortable without it last night.
They're saying he's a medical miracle, folks.
But they're saying they've never seen anything like this.
They've never seen anything like it.
Excited to potentially be at the game this Saturday.
You might play in the game.
Definitely throwing the football in the tailgate.
Medical miracle. Well, that makes me happy. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, so I'm starting the week off right. Hopefully we can get great news like that, like the physical therapist is suggesting the doctor's going to give me tomorrow morning at my appointment, but should be driving tomorrow, Mike.
Oh, my God, he's driving. Now, real quickly, I do have to ask, you had the unfortunate issue this weekend where professionalism on one side was taking over professionalism on the other side. You were calling a football game at Midway while the U of L game was going on. How did the play-by-play go?
It went well.
Okay, good.
For my first experience and for, at the start of the game feeling like I'm like in my head, okay, we're down 17-0 and I'm about to start my career right now. Like that felt weird. It was obviously being extremely dramatic. I've done a lot of great work in the last 2 years to get to this point, year and a half or so. But it's like the first thing Spalding Soccer, that was in their SLEAC tournament. That's pretty official as well. But this is college football. Just takes a little bit higher precedence over soccer. And I'm in my head about Louisville, Mike. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is bad. I had to turn my Twitter notifications off. So like, I'm like, are people like demanding a Four Loco already in the first quarter? This is good. I believed in Louisville though, Mike. I believed in Louisville. I believed in Chris Bell. I believed in Colin Lacey. I believed in Miller Moss, and they impressed me. They did what they had to do out there to get the win. So, not really being able to check on it, having to get updates from you because texting's faster than loading a Gamecast out there with 1 bar of 5G.
Yeah.
Eli threw those things.
You're right about that.
And overall, I thought I did a pretty good job for my first time ever doing color commentary. I had some moments where I'm like, I need to say something right here, and I didn't really have anything good or like a couple one-sentence replies when I maybe had enough time for 2 or 3-sentence replies. But play-by-play this time on the next game, Scoots is going to be on the color. Pretty nervous for that.
You'll be good. You'll be fine. It's going to be. How did Midway do, by the way? Did we win?
They handled Quincy.
Attaboy.
Breaking records, Mike. Record-breaking offense.
Suck it, Quincy. All right, let's just dive into it. I mean, we've had some bizarre games in the past. We've had some bizarre comebacks in the past. We've had some what the hell just happened type games in the past. It would take a whole show, I think, for us to sit down here and break down where exactly Saturday stands in that hierarchy. Without question, it's on the list. Whatever the list is, Saturday's game is on the list as far as chaotic, improbable games, memorable games for on-field and off-field reasons. We'll start where I think we need to start, which is the team gets down 17-0. And Roman, you're calling the game, so you're kind of, I think you texted me at one point and you're just like, do we suck? Like what's happening? It was either you or my wife. My wife took the kids to the zoo for the first half, and she was like, what's going on? And I was like, well, we suck. Like that's it. We spent the entirety of last week talking about these things, and every topic that we had, it ended with the same statement, which was, we'll find out about this on Saturday. All these questions that we've had, not just last week, but for the entirety of the offseason, the entirety of the season so far, we were like, let's find out the answers to these questions on Saturday, or at least start that process. And after the first quarter, I think the collective feeling amongst the fan base, it certainly was my feeling, was, well, we found out the answers, and I wish we didn't. I would love to go back to the world of naivety where we're ignorant. It was like the comparison I made on Friday where you're like, everybody wants to find out if you're being cheated on until you actually find out. And then I think a lot of people are like, well, I would love to go back to that existence where I didn't really know. And that was kind of the way that we all were feeling at the end of the first quarter. The offense could not move the ball at all.
Punt, interception.
The defense had some very iffy moments. Pitt just marches down the field to start the game, not really running anything overly eloquent, just kind of doing, we're going to take what we give you. They're running the ball effectively. Their short passing game is working well, and it seemed like we really struggled to adjust. And the only reason why they don't score a touchdown on that first drive is because a kid drops a wide-open pass, and he would have waltzed into the end zone at that point. So you're like, man, all of the answers to these questions we've been asking are bad.
They had a few of those, not necessarily in the end zone, but a couple that would have been big first downs.
They did. It was a game where we definitely were handed some things. We also did some handing ourselves, so it went both ways for sure. And I think that I'm sitting there, and there's always a little bit of hope that a comeback's going to happen, especially when you have an offensive-minded coach in Jeff Brom, who's had a few of these games in his past. But when you're looking at the fact that Miller Moss had been iffy at best already up to that point, not just in that game, but for the entirety of the season, the defense, you're kind of like, man, they just weren't as good as we thought they were going to be. There are all these questions about what's going on in the locker room, and I'm kind of sitting there and being like, it's not just about today. This whole season is about to snowball. These guys, they don't look like they were ready to play. They don't look like they particularly care about playing. This could be, we're going to get blown out here, or at the very best, it's going to be one of those, well, we didn't stop fighting and we only lost by 10 points after a disastrous start, and maybe we can win some decent games, maybe we can beat Kentucky, and that's kind of where your mind immediately goes to, and you're sort of thinking, my thought was, man, basketball's still like a month away. Like we've got nowhere to pivot just yet.
I was seeing some of that in the group chats.
I think everybody, there were a lot of people that were a lot more hostile and caustic than that who were filling up my mentions online and certainly filling up the mentions of the U of L accounts that are out there. Everybody was panicking. And I think we're well within our rights to panic when you're down 17-0 at the end of the first quarter. And you've really given no sort of indication that you're better than being down 17-0 at that point. What was Kelly Dickey had a stat about when Louisville teams had been down by 17 points at the end of the first quarter. We had been. It
was the first time it had happened in a long time.
We were like 1-37 or something along those lines in the modern era of college football. The 17-point comeback alone was the 6th largest comeback in the history of Louisville football. And I'm trying to think, whatever the stat that he threw out there was, we haven't won a whole lot of games when we've been down by 17 points after the first quarter. I don't think many programs have won a whole lot of games when we've been down by 17 points after the first quarter. And the fact that this team battled back and did what they did, I've got a take on this. I think that Saturday's game, the way that it played out, was almost the best possible way that it could have played out for the rest of this season. Second only to us going out there and winning like 49-0.
Found it here.
Okay, what's the stat?
Louisville is 1-21 when trailing by 17 or more points at the end of the first quarter, beating Rutgers 41-38 on November 29, 2007 after trailing 21-3. Jeff Brom was Louisville's quarterback coach and passing game coordinator that season.
That's right. That was the last game of Steve Cragthorpe's first season.
We were 1-21 when trailing by 17 or more in the first.
We were there. It was cold. I think everybody left at halftime. Our fans stormed the field after a game where we finished 6-6 for the season. Didn't make a bowl game after starting preseason top 10. We did storm the field. And I didn't even hate it. I was like, whatever. We've had an absolute crap season. Get out there, storm the field, have some fun. Everybody deserves it. Bilal Powell went nuts in that game. But my point is, I think that this team, it needed to have its resolve tested. They're very clear. I'm not going to pretend to know everything that's going on with this team behind closed doors, but there's clearly been some stuff happening. And there's been talk throughout the year about the lack of juice on the sidelines, guys not bouncing, guys not celebrating that much. And I think when all of that's the case, you sort of wonder, is everybody swimming the same way? Is everybody fully committed to having the type of season that the fans and that the coaching staff and everybody else associated with U of L football wants to have this year. And when you come back, and not just coming back from down 17-0, coming back from down 17-0, then getting down by 10 points again, kind of having that first uppercut absorbed and then getting hit again and still coming back and dominating the second half the way that they did. I don't think they can, we can talk about individual players or whatever, but collectively, I don't think we can doubt this team's will anymore. That's a gritty-ass victory by this team against a fine opponent, not a great opponent, but an opponent that's going to win 6-7 games, probably go to a bowl game, probably finish somewhere in the middle of the pack in the ACC, and is playing on its home field, which, by the way, was a place that you had not won ever since joining the ACC and had not won, period, since 2012. The way in which that happened, I think all of a sudden it can inspire some guys who are maybe a little bit on the fence as far as, what's going on. It's wins like that, they're contagious. They spread positivity through a locker room. Losses in the opposite direction when you have, what happened to Pitt, can spread like a virus. This can spread like whatever the opposite of a virus is. Like, God, I don't want to say vaccine. I don't want to say anecdote. We'll say that. This can have the opposite effect, where kind of like Boston College last year, coming back from that 21-0 deficit where it looked like the team maybe had tucked tail and was going to call it a season. After that point, you're like, all right, these guys are still invested. And we played, besides the Stanford second half, very good football from that point forward. I love the way that this game played out, as far as the way that it may set the tone for the remainder of the season. Miller Moss, I think, we talked about him not being a guy that's going to really be an in-your-face type leader. That type of gritty second-half performance where he's making all the throws, he's standing in the pocket, he's taking hits, he's making the plays necessary to lead his team to a gigantic comeback victory on the road, that permeates throughout the team. I think all of a sudden you look at that quarterback differently in the huddle next week than you did before he gave that type of performance. You needed to see that from that type of guy to really buy into his ability to lead this team potentially to like 9-10, maybe more wins.
Yeah, your receivers are believing in him now a little bit more than before.
For sure, you're willing to go to war for that guy now, maybe in a way that you weren't a couple of weeks earlier after you see him play like that. Whatever was going on the week before, Duke Watson very clearly was playing through some stuff in this game. Could have easily.
He was battling, Mike. You could see it.
Yeah, I mean, they start the second half. The sideline announcer, whose name I can't remember, she says straight up, it was kind of a funny moment. She's like, just got the word, like, Duke Watson, he is officially out for the second half. They immediately throw it back to the booth as action is going on, and they're like, and here's the run to Duke Watson. Like he got the ball immediately after they give that report. And you could tell she was kind of embarrassed, so they threw it back down to her. And so she felt the need to clarify, and I don't blame her. She's like, I was told by Jeff Brom that Duke Watson would not play this second half, and then he's out there. So it very clearly was like all right, he's not going to play. And then he goes to the staff himself and says, you're not keeping me out of this game. And we needed him. Like, he made some really tough-nosed runs.
Got some critical first downs for us.
Also had some critical blocks because, whether it was an injury or whatever, Isaac Brown was not pass blocking at all in this game.
He's already not really the best at it, and he wasn't putting hardly any effort into it.
He whiffed a couple of times that resulted in sacks or resulted in pressures. You needed Duke Watson back there in pass pro as much as anything else. And look, man, he put his body on the line. So kudos to him for playing through some stuff. And he wasn't the only one. You had a lot of guys that were playing through some stuff in this game. And we don't win if we don't have that type of mentality. I mean, this is going to be a show where I guarantee we talk for like an hour and a half, and then something comes up, and you're like, oh, my God, I completely forgot about that. But you had a handful of this play, maybe the one that we look back on and say, this saved the season moments. It wasn't just one play. You could point to a number of different moments. I mean, at first you're like, all right, well, it's obviously the punt return that they fumbled. We're down 17-0. The offense isn't doing anything. It looks
tough call, but the right call.
I think it's the right call. I mean, if I'm Pitt, I'm furious for sure. But because this is a point of emphasis for this college football season, if you've watched enough college football, you've seen this called a handful of times where it's been minimal contact, but they're trying to avoid. I mean, anybody who's ever like sprinted full speed at any point in their life and been kind of nudged knows it doesn't take much for you to be sent like a missile if you're going full speed. And so you give that like what is clearly a shove. The kid extended his arm. Like, they're going to call that. And again, if I'm on the Pitt side, I'm pretty pissed off about the way that whole thing played out. But it's the right call, and you've seen it called throughout college football over this first month of the season. So when it initially happens, I'm like, man, what a terrible mistake by Antonio Meeks. We just given them great field position. Like, I'm resigned to that. I'm not even upset at this point. I've accepted the fact that we're going to lose and probably lose handily, and then that flips the entire game. Us getting the ball right there at the goal, you run a couple of plays, you score a touchdown, everybody settles down a little bit. That probably gets Miller Moss calmed down a little bit after an atrocious drive the time before. I mean, the pick six was what it was. He had tried to throw like 3 interceptions before that. He was flirting with it, and then finally
Chris Bell kind of knocks away and it stays up. That's a crazy play right there.
Incredible play.
But also just a bad throw, really bad throw.
Terrible throw. And he made a couple others where it was like, man, what, you're playing with fire here, and then finally he gets burned, and the Biles kid for Pitt makes an outrageous play and an even more outrageous run back. But that call, I mean, that changes the game. And then when Pitt is punched back and reasserted itself, taking the 10-point lead at halftime, they got a 7-point lead late in the third quarter. Antonio Watts, the one-handed interception, just completely changed the tide of the game at that point. I made a point, Mark Ennis had a great still frame of that throw where it's like, I can't believe that he picked this pass off. One of the reasons why he picked the pass off, TJ Quinn gets back there, contests the throw, and we had batted down a number of passes of Eli Holstein's already at that point. So he kind of has to float that ball. If he's able to throw it on a line, the kid walks in for a Pitt touchdown. We're down by 2 scores, and all of our momentum is gone.
Yeah, because Antonio was backpedaling.
Yeah, I mean, he makes a hell of a play, but still, he needed that ball to be thrown the way that it was for him to make that one-handed interception. He does. Like, that's an insane play. We'll talk about our guy Zephian, the equipment manager of the year. We'll talk about him turning the tide potentially, us outscoring them 34-10 from that moment forward. You had the kid for Pitt who got injured, the offensive guard, getting carted off, and you're like, oh, man, like, what a good feeling.
We're clapping for him as a team as he's passed us.
Our players are clapping for him. He's giving the thumbs up to the crowd. And then he rides past our team, and he's like, F you all bleeping suck and all this stuff. Like, he's just cussing out everybody. Looks like he may have called somebody a sea sucker. Like just insane stuff there. And like, you could tell our guys were like, all right, well, bleep you too, buddy. Let's get into it. And then Miller Moss's last touchdown throw, that's as good as a pass as you're going to see from a U of L quarterback, especially given the situation. Just all of those things happen. I don't even know what to point to as the moment in this game. There were like 15 different options. It was as much of a roller coaster game as I think any of us have experienced. And the end result of it all is, despite everything, because like I still don't know if we're any good, Roman. I don't. I'm over the moon enthusiastic about what's happening right now. I don't know if we're any good, though. What I do know is we're 4-0. We're 1-0 in the ACC. We're hosting a top 25 opponent this weekend at home in a game that we're favored to win. We get a bye week after that, and then we're going to go down to Coral Gables and play arguably the best team in college football, who may be number 2 or number 1 by the time we get to that game. It's all there for the taking as we enter October. Regardless of how it's happened, we are going into October the way that we wanted to. Now, I think we all thought we would be in the top 25 at some point. I don't care about that. We're undefeated. It's all still there for the taking. We've still got massive room for improvement. The penalties were atrocious. Miller Moss was bad in the first quarter. There's no way around it. The running backs don't look healthy. The offensive line wasn't great. Despite everything, we are 4-0. We are hosting a ranked team on Saturday. The weather looks like it's going to be fantastic. We've got a potential one of the biggest games in program history looming if we're able to win and they're able to beat Florida State this weekend. It feels very good to be where we are right now, and I'm not taking it for granted. 4-0 is 4-0, Roman.
4-0 is 4-0.
I talked a lot there. I didn't give you much of a chance to talk.
No, you said all the things I want to hear, Mike, all the things I would have tried to say. One thing I do want to say, though, I don't know if we emphasized it enough as we only got like another minute or so before we get out of here, but Miller Moss looked like something shifted in him at halftime, Mike, or early in that third quarter, where he looked like he had, I don't know, I think it was a confidence thing. Like, he was confident in his receiver's ability to go get to the spots he wanted them to get to, and his confidence to get the ball to those spots. And I feel like he kind of took command over the offense when he knew the run game wasn't going to give him what he needed. The offensive line was only going to give him so much time. It felt like he was confident in his ability to go out there and make the throws he had to make after that costly mistake, even, especially. Really glad to see that from our quarterback when I feel like we haven't seen it against opponents you should have seen it against. So
I mean, props to him, too. You look at the games where
he had some mistakes still, but
for sure. But you look at the games where Jeff Brom has had a quarterback who's been forced to throw 45 times or more. It was the Pitt game 2 years ago with Jack Plummer. It was the Stanford game last year with Tyler Shuck. And then it was Saturday. This is the only one of those games that we've won. And we had to throw the ball 51 times because we were getting nothing on the ground until the end, where it looked like Pitt kind of gave up a little bit, and we were able to assert our will. Also, follow-up, they didn't play well for the entire game, but the offensive line, when we needed them to step up, they gave Moss time to throw.
They did.
And I think what we saw on Saturday is that when Miller Moss has time to throw and the ability to see down the field, he can be a pretty damn good quarterback. He's certainly better than he is when he's got a millisecond to throw.
And they don't care when we're running the ball, but
they don't at all. We've got more time. We have certainly more things to get to after the break. We'll do just that as we keep it rolling on a Victory Monday edition of the Rutherford Show here on the Big X. Feel Good Victory Monday here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus. 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Reminder, United Mechanical and our guy John Burke, they are your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration services. Give them a call any hour, any day at 502-339-1133. You can also visit them online at UnitedMechanicalInc.com. Mike Rutherford, Roman Kelly here with you on a Monday as we react to all the news from the weekend that was, primarily Louisville going on the road and pulling off a 34-27 come-from-behind victory over the Pittsburgh Panthers. The first time, not just us beating them on their home field, but the first time since these two teams joined the ACC that either team has beaten the other on the road. We have not lost to them at home. They had not lost to us at home before Saturday. Very, very impressive victory from the Cards. I love today hearing D'Angelo Hutchinson at the weekly press conference. Jeff Brom talked, and then a couple of players talked, and Hutchinson was asked about, what's the big difference in the second half for you guys? And he said, look, we looked at them. They didn't want to play anymore. So we took that and ran with it. With all the questions surrounding this team, and certainly the questions that I think most of us had watching them play in that first, the first quarter, the fact that we were the team that just wanted it more, I don't think that could be more encouraging for the rest of the season. I would have loved to have gone out there and won that game by 50. I think everybody would. But if it had to be a different way, I love the way in which this one played out as far as what it may indicate for the remainder of the season. Roman, I've talked a bunch. I want to hear you talk a little bit. I know you weren't able to watch the game live, but you've watched it since.
And I've watched it twice since. And
oh boy.
And it's tough to know like I've already seen the live reactions on. I got to see some of the live reaction stuff like an hour after, so not too far late into the game. But for me watching it, Mike, I didn't get to. I know what the outcome is. I know what the final score is. Unfortunately,
sure.
So all of the momentum, I kept thinking about, wow, that's a little throughout this game there were little tiny moments where I kept seeing little momentum builders where if they seem like they know if they just fixed the little things on that play they would have got it right. I also felt like there was an overreaction to the first quarter play of Miller Moss.
I thought so too a little bit.
I don't think he was. How do I say this?
Besides the one drive, he wasn't terrible. The one drive where he ended up throwing the pick six, he was just making
that was a bad drive
decision.
That was a bad drive.
It was like we got down 10-0, and he immediately started pressing.
The power on the throw that Chris Bell prevented from being to tear, bad timing, and it was just the power's just you were asking to be intercepted there
for sure.
Got lucky. He had there was 3 drops in this game as well. That
see, it's funny you say it. It's easy to say it in hindsight, I'm sure, but as it was happening. I'm getting blown up with people who are like, I've seen enough. It's time for Deuce Adams. I've seen enough. And I was like, man, I don't think this is entirely on him. The one drive, he was really, really bad. But besides that, I was kind of like you. I'm like, we got some drops out there. We're also, we're just not running the ball at all. He's being placed in a 2nd and 9, 3rd and 8 type situation every single time. That's difficult to throw against anybody.
And that's another thing I was going to point out, or I was going to try to point out. Producer Keith pointed it out to me. Where he's not throwing it away on some of the short passes that aren't working. We're not we're not getting the screen guy open. Yeah. He's trying to wait for it to open up, waiting a second. If it doesn't open up on a screen pass, that's not on Miller. Yeah, he needs to throw it away a little bit faster, but if the screen plays aren't consistently working and they're consistently being called for him, there's only so much he can do there when he's trying to make something happen, knowing that the run game's not offering him a whole lot. I feel like we were a little bit not we. I just feel like I saw a lot of people that were harsh on the play of the first half on Miller. I thought Duke battled through his injuries, Mike. Isaac confused me. One run, he looks like, he looks hurt, but he looks like if he gets enough open space, he's going to cut up still. And then he'd get another play where I'm like, he didn't even try to cut there. And I was confused on just how down bad he seemed like he was. He seemed like some plays he had the juice and some plays he had nothing. I was a little bit confused on that. I'm calling him out as well. I don't know what his long-term aspirations are, obviously, Mike. More will happen for him if he can be a good blocker in the pass game.
I think that's fair. I think also what I would say is, because like you said, every now and then you see him like, oh, there's the burst, there's the cut. if you go back and watch him last year around the same, or at any point last year, when he was going in motion, like he's sprinting and he's flying out to get himself in position to catch a pass and make a big play after it.
He didn't get the full speed once.
He was going about 75% every time you put him in motion in this game. And like, if it is an injury, don't play. We've got guys. We can work around it. We can win a football game when Miller Moss throws the ball 51 times. We found that out this weekend. And it looks like Duke Watson's going to battle through some stuff.
We missed Keywan really bad. That was a takeaway I had on this,
sure.
just because his blocking, he's the best blocker in the group.
Hell, he might be the best runner right now at this point with the way that he ran against Bowling Green last week.
Yeah, in terms of injury and all-around health and just everything, he's the best back we've got right now. And that's kind of crazy to say because, we're still able to go get a win without him. But I had a couple of different things written down here. I thought, again, there's just a little bit. We're not taking enough chances on fourth down, Mike. I'm confused on that a little bit. I also feel like we're not calling the right plays in short yardage situations. I feel like we shouldn't have needed a third down QB sneak with Miller Moss on the after the punt.
Now, look, we can say that, and I think there was a lot of talk about that in the first half. The 3rd and 1 call for the Jaleel Skinner touchdown
was lovely.
We've run that play before, but it was an absolute beauty. It was the perfect call at the perfect time.
It was. I had that written down as well.
Yeah.
Jeff Brom's still trying to figure things out, I guess, with his personnel and who likes what and where they like to be, where they like to run routes from pre-snap and kind of making sure certain guys can do certain things and before you go all out with your playbook. But I feel like we could have gotten a little bit more into it. Is that just me maybe nitpicking a little bit? Probably. But, Colin Lacey, did he get in the backfield twice?
Well, he had one carry. I think he was back there a couple of times when he didn't get the ball.
Yeah.
But he only carried it one time.
Would have liked to see him get the ball back there a couple more times when they're missing Keywan.
You look at the numbers, Roman. We won a football game on the road where we scored 34 points, and we ran 33 times for 54 yards. That's 1.6 yards per carry. We didn't have a run of more than 15 yards in this game. If you would have read just the rushing numbers to us before the start of the season, I think we all would have said, unless it's EKU or maybe Bowling Green, anybody else on our schedule, they're going to beat us with those rushing numbers. And that's a testament not just to Miller Moss, but the defense.
But in my opinion, Mike, if you take away half the penalties, we would have comfortably won that game with those rushing numbers.
That is one thing we have to get to. There certainly is. I mean, I said, I don't know. I still don't know if we're good. And one of the things, you can easily say, man, we won despite all these things. The reality is, we shouldn't have to win despite some of these things. Like, some of these things need to be cleaned up. The penalties in the first half were absolute killers. I mean, you'd be on the verge of having some momentum back, and then it was like, bam, holding penalty turns a positive play on first down into 1st and 20, and your backs are back against the wall because we're not running the ball effectively at all. That, we tie the game, and it's like, all right, let's maybe get the lead here, and then we get the ball start the second half, and then you essentially you gift them 30 yards on 2 personal foul penalties. And that's the thing, when we get penalties, it's not, a little false start here, a little false start there. It's a bunch of 15-yard penalties. We ended up, what did we finish with this game? Like, I know it was 98 or 95 yards of penalties. 9 penalties for 92 yards. We cannot, we may be good. We're not good enough to overcome that against better teams as we get deeper into the season, Roman. We cannot have that happen.
You have 39 minutes of possession, Mike. The other team shouldn't be scoring 27 points either.
No. Now, I will say, when you look back at it, because people were being hard on Miller early in the game, for sure. They were definitely being hard on Jeff. They also were going hard after Ron English. When you look back at it now.
Kept us in the game.
Absolutely kept us in the game. And, the first touchdown, former Cardinal Blue Hicks makes an outrageous catch where the ball gets tipped and he maintains focus.
It gets fully swatted. It's a great play. Okay, who was the back there?
Jabari Mack.
It was Mack. He gets beat. Hicks beats him. He recovers well, times his lunge perfectly to swat that ball out of the hands, but the ball stays up in the air. Hicks, great concentration. I'll give him his props there. Way to keep his eyes on the ball there in that moment as he's getting brought to the ground. That's about as unlucky as it gets. That's one tier as unlucky as the second Miller Moss interception on the dime he had to Meeks in the second game? First game.
First game, yeah.
I that's just really bad. Like, you know, I don't think I thought the defense was good in the first half. Even down 17-0, I thought they had a good first half.
Now, the one thing you can say, because you look up at 17-0 and 14 of the points are kind of a fluky catch and a pick six. They were bad on the first drive when they gave up 3 points. Bend don't break. And then they were really bad on the last drive where Pitt scored the touchdown.
The drive before that, too, they weren't great, but they got they
held them to a field goal. And then the drive where they scored the touchdown, that was a complete breakdown. Holstein hits the guy wide open, complete, just collapse.
Hutchinson, who was furthest back, I want to say.
I couldn't tell whose fault it was that guy was left so open.
I understand the linebackers thinking that, he's about to run. They start running after him. But giving up on the play because you think he's starting to tuck the ball, you gotta stay with your man while the guy's in the pocket still leaving the pocket.
There were like 4 guys kind of looking up and looking back, and I'm not sure exactly whose responsibility it is, but there was not a safety.
This is just a lazy play.
Yeah, there wasn't a safety anywhere around, and that was one where you're like, all right, man, like they absorbed our best punch back, and now they've got total control, and this isn't going to go well.
That's where watching it for me was like I didn't have to deal with that feeling.
Yeah, it was a very, very big, especially when it's 17-17, and you're like, all right, we got to stop. For the second straight game, we got a chance to play possession football, score right before the break, and then get the ball back to start the second half. And we go 3 and out and leave them.
Hated giving the ball back away right there.
Yeah, I mean, we leave them 2 minutes again.
That's what we could have went for it, I thought.
Yeah, it was a very, very strange feeling. And all of a sudden, they scored, and they managed the clock poorly as well, and they end up scoring 10 points in 2 minutes. And you're like, man, we completely botched this. We just suck at the end of first halves. We just do. And that's been a thing basically for the last 2 years. We've got to get better at clock management. We also have to get better at just in those situations, making sure that we get a first down. It seemed like
why is the coaching staff like this dealing with clock management issues so consistently, Mike?
What'd you say there?
What a coaching staff dealing with clock management issues so consistently?
There was, you also have to trust your quarterback a little bit more. So we call a pass play on 3rd and short before when we've got the ball at the end of the half. And at that point, Pitt has 1 timeout left. And so Miller Moss in that situation has to know we're calling a pass play, but if there's not something there, just take the sack. Make them use their timeout.
Make them use, yeah.
Let the clock keep running. Going. And he rolls out. His primary read's not open. He's not even under that much pressure at that point, and he just dirts the ball. Like, that's the type of mistake that you cannot have from your senior quarterback who's played a lot of big-time college football. And you look back and you're like, all right, well, maybe that's not going to be a huge mistake. It ends up being very costly because Pitt's able to use that last timeout to stop it when they had to, and they end up having the time remaining to throw that touchdown with 19 seconds left. Like, that was little stuff like that. You're like, man, we got to work on this more. We've got to find the best Madden player on campus and just put them on staff for just that role, because this should not be as hard as we're making it out to be on a week-to-week basis. We suck at this. And at that point, you're like, man, it was fun. Loved the comeback. Can't believe that we were in the game. But now
that happens against a team that knows what to do.
For sure.
It's going to hurt us.
And the only reason why it didn't kill us, or one of the biggest reasons, was the defense didn't allow anything in the second half. I mean, we're talking about that huge passing play at the end of the first half. We're talking about this drive where they marched down the field at the beginning of the game. We're talking about Blue Hicks having a, 55-yard touchdown catch on the second drive. Despite all of that, we only gave up 339 yards in this game. We only allowed them to rush for 80 yards on 23 carries. That's 3.5 yards per carry. We were in the backfield consistently. I mean,
we're getting our hands up consistently, Mike, and that's something that I don't think we did a whole lot last year. Linebackers and defensive linemen getting their hands on quarterback throws has been huge this season already.
Cleve Lubin's a star. I know if you look at the box score, you're like, whatever, 2 tackles, no sacks. He was constantly in the backfield. He was constantly getting Holstein out of the pocket. He was constantly putting pressure on their guys.
Wes Bailey playing through some injury as well, doing the same thing.
He and, Rene Congo was out there playing through some injuries. He ended up with a sack in this game. I thought the secondary, besides a couple of plays, was good. I thought Tayon Holloway played really well. I thought it was great to have JoJo Evans back, even though he did get beat on that play that ended up being the touchdown. Hutchinson was good again. Caleb Perry looks like he's going to be the guy that we're putting in there to replace Stanquan Clark primarily. Capers played a little bit as well. They're mixing and matching, but Perry's been the more effective of the two so far. I thought he was good in this game. The defense has just been, I feel even more optimistic about the belief that they are as good as they've looked through the first month of the season. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go down there and shut out Miami in a couple of weeks. They've got a tall task ahead of them with a very explosive Virginia offense this weekend. But they won this game for us in the second half. Miller Moss thankfully took advantage, and some guys stepped up and made some big-time plays. But the defense, if they're allowing Pitt to score 14 more points in that second half, we've got no shot to win this game. They blanked them at that point. Now, can we talk about I
love how Corey Gordon will just have, one of the best plays out there out of the defensive snap. One play, and then the very next play, he's doesn't know where to be and is running like he's a chicken with his head cut off. I think that's kind of funny how consistently he's able to do that.
Corey Gordon is the classic. I'm trying to think of, he brings the Calvin Pryor lumber, where it's like when you hear his name called, it might be something like you said, being a little bit lost, but if it's not, it's because he's absolutely laying somebody out. He had a couple of blocks on special teams too, where he just drilled dudes. Mm-hmm. He's a wrecking ball out there, and I love that.
Shout out to Keller on the 57-yarder.
It sucks because he ended up missing the next one, but
harder kick. But
what a crazy stat to have 2 attempted field goals for your career, both makes, and both school records. He tied his own career record with the second one. I don't know. You knew that it went in, I'm sure, when you were watching it.
Yeah.
Watching it live, it looks like it goes short and hits off the back, like the padding. It does hit off the padding, but it's after it goes through the crossbar. Watching it live, I was like, damn. I can't believe it. And when they put their arms up to signal that it was good, it was such a crazy feeling of relief. You're like, all right, one possession game, we're back in it. And then unfortunately,
I thought he was going to bend that 56-yarder.
I thought he was going to drill it at that point. I'm like, this guy's just. We're never going to miss a field goal again. Cooper Ranvier also rock solid when we had to have him out there, which was great. Special teams overall, good again. Punting, yeah. I feel like our punters are kind of like, yeah, special teams are great, man. Everybody's like, well, not so much you guys. It's more about the return game and the field goal kickers. You guys need to step it up just a little bit. But they were okay. Schwartz and Chippo both had some punts, and they were fine. But we got to talk about the equipment manager dust up at this point. If you didn't see it, which I'm assuming is maybe 3 of you listening to the show right now, we had a situation a couple of years ago when we played Pitt where we turned the ball over a bunch, and they had, I think, 2 pick sixes in that game. The kid who transferred from UK had the game clinching pick 6, and in college football, each team uses their own ball. They bring their own footballs. There's no universal ball. It's like college basketball. And so when we're on offense, that's our football out there. And when there's a defensive play, they want to keep the ball, especially when they have a pick 6. And you see it happen sometimes in college football. I feel like there have been 3 or 4 of these incidents over the years where the ball boy's kind of going after the ball, hey, can I have that back? And the team that just had it is fighting with him, no, you can't have it.
Travis Hunter and Shadur last year, the notable one.
That's exactly right. That's I think the big one that people were thinking of when they saw this over the weekend. So the kid, the Biles player from Pitt, returns a pick 6, and apparently the equipment staff had been told, we can't. We got to make sure that we get our balls. These are $60. We're trying to save money in the NIL era. We lost a bunch of balls the last time we played here. By any means necessary, you make sure that you go out there and you keep Louisville's footballs on the Louisville sideline. And so this kid Zephian, he immediately is he lets him celebrate a little bit, and then he's like, hey, I need that ball. And kind of smacks it out of the guy's hand. Then and all of a sudden, 5 Pitt players are shoving him, they're pulling him, they're playing keep away with him, they're Euro stepping and finger rolling the ball into the crowd, and it becomes just a gigantic thing. And at that point in time, I'm like, this is the most fight anybody on our team has shown the entire game. And it's a heroic performance by that kid. And ends up getting the ball at the end of the game, tweets it out, puts it on his social media, we're bringing the ball back and we're bringing the dub back. It was a fantastic moment. You don't touch the equipment staff. You may want to hold on to it. You maybe want to be get away from me. You don't need to shove the kid. And they're out there shoving him. So I immediately am like,
took four Pitt players to get the ball from him.
Well, that's classic Pitt. That's just, they're fake tough up there. Steel City, it's a long way gone. They're pretty boys now. They don't have the toughness that we have. They don't have the toughness that our equipment managers have. And so I'm like, we got to get this kid on the show. And immediately my DMs get hit up by like 3 or 4 of the equipment managers like, hey, just so you know, like, this is his at, this is who he is. And he messaged me after the game and was like, big fan, like, appreciate all you do, would love to come on the show. But I think Mondays are super busy for him. And he was like, well, we're still going to try to make it happen later this week. But then I see him on like 50 other shows today, by the way. And I was like, oh, he's kind of meskying us. He's giving us the mesky treatment. But he was telling the story on, I think, the Wake Up Barstool show, where he was like, he's like, I don't even blame the players. He's like, I'm just trying to do my job. They're trying to do their job. They made some great plays. Like, he's got the player political correctness in a press conference toned down. He's like, those are great players. They made great plays out there. He's acting like he's Jeff Brom after the game. He's from the Jeff Brom school of press conferences. I don't know if the players were even aware of this happening during the game. All I know is that from that point forward, Roman, we outscored them 34-10. This kid's a hero. He got some proper shout-outs from Donovan Mitchell. Peyton Siva showed him some love. He is a Louisville legend.
You don't mess with our ball staff.
You don't mess with our ball staff.
He did the job. He got the job done. Shout out to Zeffy and doing what he has to do to make sure Louisville is doing what they've got to do at all costs, Mike.
That's my guy. He's a legend forever. Like he is in the lore. If there's a Mount Rushmore of like student support staffers, he's on it.
Throw him in the backfield. The way he had that ball tucked and not letting up, Mike.
Give him a carry on senior day.
Give him a carry.
Give him a carry on senior day. Let's
Give
make
him
it
a
happen.
jet sweep. Let me see what he can do.
I mean, that was awesome. I love the way that happened. I love the player getting carted off and cussing out our team as it was. I've never seen that. Typically like guys are like, yeah, bygones. We say stuff on the field, but nobody wants the other guy to be hurt and all this stuff. And our players are clapping, and he cusses out our team as he's getting carted off, which is just incredible. I mean, I almost respected it. Obviously, I felt I kind of lost any sort of sadness that I had for him, but I also sort of respected it. You never see anybody who's probably dealing with a season-ending injury in that moment be like,
no problem. I mean, they had the full-on like leg thing. He was wrapped up. I mean,
he's done.
He's done. Season's over right there.
And he's not, he's telling his team, like, you got to go out there and win the game. Like, he's doing the Kevin Ware thing, like, win the game, guys. And you're like, oh, man, we're up against a feel-good story. And then he's like, bleep you bleep and suck.
I think he said it looked like he gave a specific number.
It may have been somebody that he's blaming for the injury. I don't know. But, you never see that. I had to rewind it to make sure that I wasn't seeing things, even though the announcing crew pointed it out. It was just insane. I feel like also, I know we're jumping all over the place here. We probably haven't talked about Chris Bell enough because
what a game.
I mean, I had guys texting me after the game who were like, man, Colin Lacey didn't do that much. And I'm like, he had 8 catches for 95 yards. It just didn't feel that way because Chris Bell was making every gigantic play that we needed in this game. He had a bad drop early, had another pass that maybe should have caught that was thrown a little bit high. Besides that, 10 catches, 135 yards, big touchdown to tie the game. Blocking everywhere. That guy's a dog. Like, he's finally stepping into the role that we needed him to step into for us to be a good football team and for us to have a capable passing game this season.
It felt like he got hit every catch.
And he was still, like,
just bounces up, ready to go.
Over the middle. Yeah, it was a lot of, like, you could tell the conversation was almost, man, 3rd and 3, we can't run for it here. We know you're going to get hit, but we got to throw the ball to you. Like, quick slant, Chris. Like, sorry, this is going to hurt, man, but, like, we need this first down. And it was sort of like an unspoken agreement between himself and Miller Moss because Miller's throwing some murder balls to him. But you got to do what you got to do. And he was out there making those catches, moving the chains, and keeping our momentum going. I almost said heroic, but, like, it did feel that, like, that type of performance from him. He was out there. And he was another guy that at the last second last week, they were talking about him being injured and, what's kind of going on. That was a no bones about it. Just he's letting him hang out there. Like Chris Bell, helmet sticker. Fantastic performance from him. Go ahead.
Quick little, I was going to try to save this for later in the show, Mike. I don't like the Cardinal bird sticker basically falling off the helmets. Did you see this?
I don't feel like I noticed this.
So the Cardinal bird sticker that was on our helmets didn't fit. Let me know if anybody else on the text line, on the Game Day Men's Health text line, saw this. Lots of our guys are like the sticker not properly placed and it was like
really
horns over the helmet.
Well, if Zephian did it, then we don't care. That's fine. He did enough for in this game. I'm seeing if I can find pictures from the games. So you just think it was misplaced?
Like it just was actually too big.
I don't notice that in the pictures. I mean, you have something like this.
Okay, producer Keith, I figured he would text in about this. He said it's only on specific Exum helmets. So a specific type of helmet brand that some of the guys are wearing. The sticker doesn't properly go on it. Well, a handful of those guys are wearing that helmet.
It's like one of those concussion aiders that not aiding.
Yeah, Moss, Moss and Lubin wear.
Okay.
And then a couple other guys.
I didn't notice this. I think I was too busy freaking out for most of the game to really pay attention to any of the fine details. But, okay, we'll add that to the list of potential negatives from this game. It's right up there with penalties and early offensive line play.
Love seeing Miller get hyped, though.
I love seeing Miller get hyped. Like I said, I think this is a performance that you can build on. This is a performance that you can look back and say this was the moment where the offense started to believe in him. And hopefully this will inspire maybe like the running game to get going a little bit now, knowing that we don't need you that much. We can throw the ball 51 times. We'd love to have you, though. Let's step it up. Let's start going. All right, we've talked a lot for the last hour. Now it's time for your opportunity to text a lot on the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Your thoughts after the break. You'll take it away here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical on the Big X.
Jeff Brom, wow.
Here on the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450, 96.1, Big X Sports Radio. Roman, how was the rest? I didn't get a chance to ask you because we were so excited to talk football. How was the rest of the weekend outside of professional duties and sports fandom?
Pretty good. Didn't get into a whole lot. Saturday night, saw a buddy from out of town. We went to J-Town Beach, that beach volleyball place. I didn't obviously participate in any beach volleyball, but cool to see some friend out of town who hadn't been in town in a while and I hadn't gotten to see him in a while. But watching football Saturday, working the Colts game, just losing sports bets.
God,
Hit a few as well, but
bad sport. I had a bad betting weekend. Bad. After hitting Virginia on Friday night, I was like, all right. It's one of those, like, you hit the first race on Derby Day, and you're like, all right, let's buckle up now. I don't think I hit anything the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend. Just bad. Bad. It's okay, though. Still, I've got zero complaints. I will take the financial losses in order to have all my teams win.
I made some money on, like, Friday and Saturday and lost it on Sunday, it felt like.
I did my classic money line parlay in the NFL, and just gutless Chargers. Just absolutely, I don't know why I trusted Justin Herbert. I added 4 teams at the last second, and I was like, we'll throw the Chargers in with the Giants, make it a little bit. Got greedy. Wanted that extra $25, and it just killed the whole thing. And then I bet the under last night like an absolute ass. Like, it just, I don't know why I'm betting unders. I can't hit a single under anywhere. Anyway, we'll keep it positive. We are positive. I mean, we got Reds baseball tomorrow night, Roman. We got volleyball swept its first 2 ACC games. Women's soccer team still rolling. It's all happening. These are the weekends that you dream of as a sports fan. I've got zero complaints whatsoever. Trinity beat St. X on Friday night. It's wonderful. I didn't miss you on the last 2. I feel like I haven't talked to you like a week because we had 2 remotes in a row.
Yeah, I know. I'll be back out there for the remotes going forward, though. Getting healthy.
He's playing through the band. He's inspired by Duke Watson on Saturday. Roman Duke.
Texter said
Duke Kelly.
Roman's ACL stuffed Quayton's in the locker, it sounds like. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, there you go. Really, really quickly before we go to the Game Day Men's Health text line, it became official over the weekend. Tay Kinney did commit to Kansas. There was no shock there. If you're wondering where I talked to some birdies this weekend, Roman.
You get any good tips?
I got some good tips. I mean, the first tip, they were like, Tay Kinney's definitely going to Kansas. And I was like, all right, I know. I was like, cool. You got anything else? Because I was like, that's kind of been established. And I feel very good about Colbin Landry. I think there was some positivity before then, but UConn's putting on the full court press. He's going to take a visit there. But they feel like they're in a very good spot. Like, stronger. I know they felt like at one point in time they were in a pretty good spot with Tay Kinney. I think they feel like they're stronger with Landry than they were at any point with Kinney. And he's a guy that they really, really like. They feel like he can be a 2-3 year player that can be a culture builder and also is insanely talented. And I think when you see Danny Hurley going this hard after a high school player, because he doesn't recruit many high school players anymore, I think it's a pretty solid indication that other programs that are trying to do similar things as we are. I mean, hell, I think everyone's trying to be UConn at this point. That's a solid indication that you've got a good guy that you're going after. So keep a close eye on that recruitment. I would not be shocked if he does make a decision, if it's in the next few weeks, and I think that we're in good shape. Unless something changes after he takes this visit to UConn, then I feel like we're in a good spot there. Colbin Landry.
Go get him.
Go get him. Get excited. All right, we have, a billion texts in the Game Day Men's Health text line, which we love. This is wonderful. I'm curious to hear the overall tone, because I feel like the tone the last 3 weeks, we've had a ton of texts, and most of them have been like, don't like this, don't like that. This is clearly the most, I think, optimism-inspiring performance of the season thus far, but it wasn't perfect. There's still left some things to be desired, so I'm curious to hear how positive, how optimistic, how just over the moon the text line is today. Let's get some thoughts here. Texter says, it's like text group right on cue, just completely not loading. I've got a Boxcar Bob text lined up here that's just not loading here. Roman, if you can see it.
I thought the Roman hater was first. Yes, it says, I was basically just alternating these two emotions the entire game, and it's a screenshot of
we suck again, and then we bleep again. I mean, it was a game of extreme emotions. I do, how was it knowing that we won when you watched the game for the first time from start to finish? I mean, did you get a sense of the gigantic swings? It's always tougher when you know the ending.
There's a couple. It confused me throughout the game. I'm like, well, when's it going to happen? Like, is it going to happen now? I felt like this was part of the comeback. When's the comeback coming? Like, I already saw the Nate Kariski throw, but in the highlight videos on Twitter, there's no time stamp on that highlight. So I don't know when any of the big half plays are coming. And I'm just like, hey, we're down 10. When's it going to happen if not right now? We're punting the ball away when we're losing still. When's it going to happen if not right now? So I still got to experience that, but knowing that it was coming, it was kind of easier to handle all of the negatives that were happening.
Yeah, when we tied the game at 17, I mean, I think I even tweeted out, like, how the bleep are we in this game? And when I watched half of it Saturday night and then the second half last night. When we're down 17-0 and not doing anything, I had the same exact thought where it was like, how are we in? It was how are we in this game? And then it was, how do we end up winning this game?
Yeah.
It was kind of like when we watch when we do some of the Rewinder series where you're like, when does it happen? Like, when do we kick it into high gear? And then when it happens, it's just it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, there were lots of moments. It wasn't just the first quarter. There were several moments throughout that game
where you're like, third quarter and we're punting the ball away.
We're punting the ball away. We're getting terrible penalties that seem like they're going to wreck this, this comeback effort. And then every time we need the defense to step away, Pitt ended up, I think, like 0 of 9 on third downs or something like that. Every time where it was like, all right, get off the field, maybe we got a chance, they stepped up and they made a play. And also Pitt kind of did not play well.
Great on third down all day. And then on the times they went for it on fourth down, we couldn't stop them.
Yeah, I mean,
it ended up not mattering later because there was less of those later in the game. But
the last one where they made the play on fourth down, it was a hell of a throw and catch.
I'm like, oh my goodness, how do we win? Like, that's where I had the biggest, like, we won this game?
Were you shocked that in the last 5 minutes of the game, they bench Holstein, who had done, I
didn't see what happened to him.
Nothing happened to him. He just threw 2 interceptions.
I was very surprised by that. And Gonzalez, of course, comes in. And at that point, I'm like, I don't actually know the interception numbers, so I don't know when that another one's coming for Gonzalez. I'm thinking like his first 2 throws are pretty good.
That's right. So I tweeted out, I was like, I can't believe that they're benching Holstein in this moment. And then he makes that throw where I don't know who it was.
Third down, 3rd and 8 or something like that.
Where he throws the ball like a full second before the kid even breaks and places it right on him. And I was like, okay, I can't believe they didn't go to this kid earlier.
Yeah, I'm like, here we go.
Like, thank God that he's been on the bench this whole game. And then from that point forward, he didn't look great. But he's like Holstein, I know he made some mistakes late in the game, but when he was good in the first half, he was making some really big-time plays. I do think you mentioned this at the outset. One of the best things that we did in this game was, swat down a couple of early passes, because I think that got in his head a little bit where he was, he started, when he was missing high at the end of the game. And I think that part of that had to have been because he was like, if I throw it the way that I want to throw it, they're going to get a hand up and knock it down. He almost had that pass picked off that got swatted up in the air that TJ Quinn just dropped. Cleve Lubin once again made a huge play like that.
There was a late throw that he had there. He doesn't even make a throw because the pocket's fading. There's enough guys in his face where he just doesn't even want to take a chance.
Yeah, I mean, we had great push the entire game up front. That defensive line is still, the numbers don't indicate it that much from a sack view, but like we were in the backfield the entire game, and it was huge. Texter says, this game showed us the worst we can play and almost the best we can play. Miller proved he can do something when the run isn't working, and I believe in him, I believe if him and the run are at their peaks, our offense is going to be really good. The defense was wonderful, and special teams is the best in the country. Even though the game was hideous, I can sigh in relief knowing our team won't self-destruct when things go bad. Even though it wasn't a clean performance, I walk away feeling 10 times better about everything. That's kind of where I am.
I'm really not mad at a hideous victory in a place we haven't won since we've been in this conference against a team that started this game off with a lot more juice than us.
I mean, you've just got to have buy-in. And it feels like this type of win can gain buy-in from some of those guys that were kind of like, I don't know about this. And if you have that doubt, it can start to spread, and then guys who are all in can suddenly be like, maybe I would be better transferring somewhere else. And it's so easy to just kind of half-ass things and say.
A game like this, Mike, where it keeps your guys in it when you maybe go down 14-0 to Miami.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is something you can point to. It is like the BC game last year where it's, we have the opportunity to just kind of pack it in and say, well, that's the season. We're done. Let's get ready for portal season. Let's try to get the most NIL we can. And they didn't do it in that game, and they didn't do it last weekend. And I think that can hopefully be a catalyst to great things this season. Texter says, Roman Hater says, I hate this bleeping team. Another undisciplined Brom team and just another game where the Jeff and the coaches don't have the team ready to go. I'm over these slow starts, penalties, and can't figure out what the bleep Richard Owens does. Go Reds. We won the game.
I hate the team yet.
We won a road game.
Yet.
We won a road game. We were favored to win by 3, by 7. I'm not going to. I mean, was it a work of art? No. Do I want to see? I mean, we have started slow. It feels like all 4 games this season, I guess with the exception of EKU. I would like to see us more locked in at the beginning of a game moving forward. That does feel like a coaching thing. I don't think that the coaching staff is beyond criticism just because we won this game. There were things that I thought, I mean, we talked about how bad we were at the end of the first half, the clock management there. Some of the penalties, I think some of that's on the coaching staff for sure. Some of the play calling left something to be desired. The biggest thing to me would be, though, we got to be ready to play. Like the slow starts have got to stop. I think we've gone 3 and out each of the last 3 weeks, and that's not exactly in line with Jeff Brom's reputation of being a great, scripter. That first script, that first drive is supposed to be pristine, and it's been bad the last 3. We got to. At the end of the day, I know I was saying we figured out we can win a game where Miller Moss has to throw the ball 51 times. We've got to get the run game going. Like, that has to be the backbone of this team. The defense is better than I think we thought it was going to be. At least that's the way it looks right now. Miller Moss has shown an ability to take advantage of a defense that's overplaying the run game. But if Isaac Brown and Duke Watson are going to go out there and average between 1 and 3 yards per carry for the rest of the season, we're just not going to be a really good football team. We've got to get that running game going, whether it's getting those guys healthy, getting the offensive line playing better, or both, or whatever the hell it is. We've got to get that fixed because that's supposed to be our bread and butter. Texas says, Mike and Roman, I don't think Jeff understands how to manage end-of-half situations. It's something that has consistently come up during his tenure at U of L. Can we crowdsource him and Roman a copy of College Football 26 so Roman can teach him? Concerning BBW, I can't help but feel they have regressed relative to last year. Do you see it as an O-line issue or something else? The jury is still out on Moss. I don't trust him still, but I think it can work even if his accuracy is not always great. It was interesting during his postgame that he said he didn't feel like he played a lot different from the first to second half, but it seems like everyone else did. I mean, I think he played a lot differently from the first to the second half. I do think the mistakes were glaring in the first half. There were several times where, I mean, we were basically like, all right, they're stacking the box, and we can't create running lanes at all. So we turned our pass game into an extension of the run game where we were like, if they're going to give us cushion and just clutter up the middle of the field, we're going to take the quick 4 or 5 yard throw to the outside and just take those yards. And so it was very much like snap, throw, and that was the passing game. And then when we got into a situation where we asked Miller to do a little bit more, or when he had to do a little bit more, that was when he was making mistakes. But we basically did the same thing in the second half, but we gave him more time to throw when we were taking shots downfield, and he took advantage. And, I mean, Chris Bell was phenomenal. Colin Lacey was very good. I mean, we've had, Dakari Collins dropped a pass that he should have caught. Trayshawn Hurry dropped a pass that he should have caught.
Should have got his feet down.
Should have gotten his feet down.
Oh, yeah, he dropped it. Yeah,
he got his feet down, but he still, like, you could tell he was more focused on getting the feet down than catching the pass.
Yeah.
And that kind of killed him. Like,
Meeks had a really good catch that got called back, I believe.
Like, we could have done more in the passing game, actually, if we'd given Miller a little bit more help. But the biggest thing, I think, is just giving him time. I also think the Pitt's defense just got run down. We ran a ton of plays in this game. We ran like 80-some-odd plays.
Yeah, they were tired.
And it kind of looked like they quit a little bit. Texter says, Mike and Roman was super excited to see this team overcome adversity. This felt like one of those games that Jeff would have lost in the past. If we can't continue to improve, I still think we have an out. If we can, I think you mean can. I still think we have an outside shot at the playoffs. It all starts with beating a good Virginia team next week. Time to show out, Card Nation. Let's pack Ellen in on Saturday. I mean, I hope so. It looks like the weather's going to be great. It's a 3:30 kickoff. There's no excuse for it's too late or it's too early. And this is a ranked Virginia team, which this is super weird. They're 2-0 in the ACC, despite having lost a road game at NC State in week 2, because that, Roman, was a non-conference game between 2 ACC teams.
How?
They scheduled it that way. They scheduled a non-conference game against one another a couple of years ago.
It doesn't have to count as a conference game?
No. They scheduled a non-conference game against a conference opponent.
What?
This was because Virginia got bought out by Indiana. So Indiana buys out Virginia. They all of a sudden don't have a non-conference game against a power conference opponent. They want one. There are like no takers out there. The only team that's out there that's willing to talk to them that has a free spot in their non-conference schedule is NC State. And so they're like, all right, like neither one of us want to play another group of 5 team. Let's play a game against each other that doesn't count in the conference standings, but is technically against a power conference opponent. So when Virginia goes on the road and loses 35-31 to NC State, it's a loss to an ACC team, and they're still undefeated in conference play.
That shouldn't be allowed.
It's super weird. It's super bizarre. Every now and then you see it happen in basketball as well. But this is a game between a 2-0 ACC team and a 1-0 ACC team that has all of a sudden gigantic ramifications in the ACC title race. And we're a 7.5-point favorite. I was kind of surprised by that line. Seems high.
Going up against a thing thrower.
Also a touchdown thrower.
Yeah,
gunslinger. He may be a little bit banged up, though. He was limping a little bit at the end of that Florida State game. I think there's maybe some concerns, but he is that guy's a dog, too. Like he will give it all. He had some crazy plays with his feet. Chandler Morris, he can play. He can play some football. That offense is scary. Texture says, the Scootator, what a game, what a win. Great final 3 quarters by the whole team. Miller and the offense played arguably the best we have seen all year in those final 3 quarters. Shout out to the ball boy for being a badass. The run game still has stuff to figure out. Isaac has got to block better, even if he's injured. I feel like we all owe Jeff, Duke, Isaac, and Miller a collective apology for the past week. It almost seemed like Pitt lost and was playing like we did against JMU with all the explosive plays, but not a lot in between. And we played the opposite of that to come out with a win. We had better, more sustained drive with some explosive plays in between. I don't know if that makes sense in a text, but hopefully you see what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I mean, Pitt had a handful of big plays, but in between there, it was like a lot of incompletions, a lot of
3 and outs.
Yeah, 3 and outs, a lot of runs for no yardage. And we had not many explosive plays, but we had the more sustained drives, the more complete overall game. It did feel like a little bit of a role reversal from that James Madison game.
I also felt like that was kind of like 2 teams trying to play the same way, though, Mike.
Yeah, I think that there's something to that. I also think Pat Narduzzi's not a very good coach. I think he was a good coordinator. I don't think he's a very good head coach. He does some silly stuff. By the way, James Madison still has only lost to us. 3-1. They blew out Georgia Southern this weekend, 35-10. They blew out Liberty, 31-13. So they're 3-0 and 1-0 in the Sun Belt. Makes us feel a little bit better about that game being so close, right?
Yeah, probably gonna be in their playoff. So
yeah, I want them to keep winning. Texter says, don't you dare talk about the Reds before the Cards. I didn't do it. We're Cards focused here. Go Reds, go Reds, go Reds. Texter says, my relationship with Ron English is like the relationship of Rocky and the Moscow crowd in Rocky 4. If you can change and I can change, everybody can change. Everybody's coming around on Ron. I love the Ron English, I don't got time for this stuff, back him up, to the official when they had the 5-yard penalty. Did you see that clip?
No.
So I clipped it. I put it on Twitter. Somebody turned it into a GIF. He's standing there, and the official comes over. There was a 5-yard penalty on the Pitt offense, and it was we had the ability to turn it down if we wanted to. And Ron, without looking at the official, he just makes this back him up gesture with his thumb, where he's like, you know what I want. It looked like me when I'm just sick of my kids bleep and get in the damn car. Come on. I'm not talking anymore. We're not talking about this. Get in the car. Swaggy Ron's out there right now, Roman.
Got command of that defense.
Got command of that defense. We got some dudes on that defense, too. Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville, said, what an absolute bat bleep bonkers crazy-ass game. I don't even know what to think. Miller Moss, running backs, ball boys, that injured guy in the cart cussing us out. How in the hell did we pull a win out of that? I still don't like a lot about the team and the coaching this year, but I mean, it was an impressive comeback twice, and it reminded me of the GT game 2 years ago. This team, that team got stuff fixed. Can this one? I'm not sure, but what a strange and satisfying win. I think it's still fair to have questions about the rest of the season, but my God, it's hard not to be encouraged, I think, it's hard, I think, not to be more encouraged than you are discouraged after watching what they did in the second half of that game.
I'm right there with you. if your defense can give you that kind of platform going forward in a lot of these games, it can get pressure on most of the quarterbacks we're going to play. That should set us up for more success and having the ball a little bit more than we would on average, Mike. If you can get the ball to Miller Moss's hands longer when we're going to have to throw the ball downfield every time we get it, I think Jeff Brom and his ability to call good plays and get this offense into a spot where it can produce a lot of yards and points is more likely than, a defense that's going to waver from what we've seen so far, in my opinion.
We had some guys banged up on defense, too. Rodney Johnson wasn't out there at cornerback. I don't think he's going to be out there for the next couple of games. We had, Conga and Watts had gotten hurt in practice. A couple other guys, I think, were playing through some stuff. And they still looked really good for the most part. A couple of drives were not great. Besides that, defense was very, very good. To me, if we're talking about can this team be a team that legitimately competes for an ACC title, and I saw that I think we've got, according to the S&P rankings, the third best chance now. Like we're given
to lose.
We're given like an 18.1% chance of winning the conference. Yeah, Georgia Tech losing to Wake Forest would have been nice, but shout out to Wake just doing Wake stuff. The one thing that has to happen though, and I think it's obvious, the running game's got to get going. Like you've got to have. We were talking about Isaac Brown being a Heisman contender going into the year, being an All-American. He's got, whether it's injuries or something else, he's got to play like an All-American. Duke Watson, we got to get him healthy. We got to get him going. Hopefully his second half will be a nice little catalyst towards that happening. We've got to get Keon Brown healthy. We got to get the blocking better. The running game simply has got to get going. Because now I think we've got a quarterback that's going to play with some confidence moving forward in Miller Moss. We've got absolute studs at the wide receiver position. Tight end is feeling stronger now with Nate Kariski back and Jaleel Skinner playing the way that he's played. It's just like the running game and cleaning up the penalties. Those are the two biggest things that have to happen if we're going to be legit contenders. Texas Lazard guy here. What's up, Lazard guy? Never a doubt. Swaggy Ron coming through with his big D. Thank you. Watts with the play of the game, but also shout out to Mac on that play that led to the INT. He got burnt, but he never quit on the play and sold out to make sure the Pitt wide receiver didn't score. It's the little things that separate winners from losers. Now let's roll Virginia. Agree. Shout out to Swaggy Ron. Get some confidence out there. Texture says this is Wiener Dog guy. Boys, got a couple thoughts in the game. I was saying some very hurtful things about Miller Moss for 2.5 quarters of that game. And while I'm still not sold that he's going to be good enough against the best competition left, he made some gutsy throws to get us back into that game. Shout out to Chris Bell. Shout out to special teams. We don't win without them once again. I am thoroughly conditioned as a Louisville and Ravens fan to expect the worst possible outcomes when it comes to officiating. So seeing us get that call on the muff punt was frankly shocking. Finally, I understand that we were super banged up at the running back spot, but 67 rushing yards between two of your best players is extremely concerning. Do you think that says more about Pitt's game plan or us? I think right now it says more about us. It clearly says something about both. But it's not just the running backs. I mean, there was, again, several plays where Watson and Brown touch the ball and immediately they've got 3 guys on top of them. There's only so much you can do in those situations. And I know when things were going poorly, people were like, we got to stop throwing. I'm like, we got to keep throwing. That's the only area where they're giving us any sort of room to operate. That was the only area where I think we had a chance to do things properly on offense, and props to Miller Moss and the receivers for stepping. Like, we had to throw the ball 51 times to win that game. Typically, it's not a good game plan for success. In this one, it was a necessity. And thank God Moss stepped up in the second half, and Chris Bell and Colin Lacey played like All-Americans. Texas says, Morpheus offered us the red and blue pill at halftime. Ironically, Louisville took the red pill because they look like a completely different team. Or maybe we just took the blue pill and stayed in Fantasyland. I don't know. Maybe this is all. Maybe we're living in the simulation. I don't know. All I know is I like it. By the way, everybody always talks about, like, take the red pill. Give me the blue pill. I'm the guy who's like, I love the taste of steak. Who would want to live in a terrible post-apocalyptic world where you're fighting robots and not having any fun? Give me the fun world. I'll take the blue pill 10 times out of 10. I'm not that heroic, and I know it. Texture says, Riddler here. What's up, Riddler? Moss is going to determine whether or not we win or lose every game from here on out because we cannot rely on the offensive line. I appreciate Duke gutting out the injury and being the lead back at the end of the game. The defense deserves the praise, but don't let it overshadow how good Chris Bell balled out. And finally, shout out to the ACC refs. I can't remember the last time that we benefited from an officiating screw job. Also, if you haven't read the Tim Sullivan article on Josh Hurd, there's some great quotes in there. Josh, I can sense what you're saying. I hope you're ready for rampant praise. Let's go whatever it takes mode. We can talk more about the Josh Hurd stuff on tomorrow's show. I want to keep it on football today. But there are some basketball things happening out there. Louisville now going to play in the Players era for the next 4 years during Thanksgiving week. I think that's awesome. Josh Hurd talking about going after the banner. I think that's awesome. But today, we got approximately 135 texts here about football, so we'll keep it there. Text, hey, Mike. I'm pumped about the win, but just want to note for the record, a screw job that occurred in ACC play this weekend. I guarantee it's about the Georgia Tech Wake Forest game. Yep. Did you see that?
I didn't see it. I heard about it.
So basically, like, Georgia Tech clearly jumps off sides. Wake views it correctly as a free play, and they take a shot downfield on 3rd and 5. It's an incomplete pass, and they don't call the offsides penalty. They don't end up throwing the flag. That play also stopped the clock. It allowed Georgia Tech to get the ball back and tie it up in regulation and then win in overtime. The ACC did what the ACC does. They admitted that they missed the call and said, like, we apologize, but it absolutely screwed Wake Forest. If we end up getting left out of the conference championship game behind Georgia Tech because of that, yeah, I'll be pretty pissed off. But we got to put ourselves in that position. It's on us. Take a break. More from you guys on the Game Day Men's Health text line after the break. It's the Mike Rutherford Show presented by United Mechanical. Big X Sports Radio.
All they just say is please me or spend some time and rock a rhyme. I said it's not that easy.
Honey Baked Ham in New Albany is the perfect
talking, try to make us rhyme. They really hawk, but we just walk because we have no time. And in the city, it's a pity.
Love it.
'Cause we just can't hide.
Tinted windows don't mean nothing. They know who's inside. 4 o'clock hour of the Mike Rutherford Show, 1450, 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Celebrating another victory over the weekend. Louisville football moving to 4-0 on the season. They will head into the second month of the year with a perfect record, 1-0 in conference play, and now they enter into, I think, maybe a little bit of an unexpectedly crucial portion of the season where they will play back-to-back ranked opponents, taking on Virginia this weekend, who is number 24 in the AP poll this week, and then Miami in a couple of weeks after that, who is currently number 3 in the latest AP poll. They did receive 4 first-place votes, the Hurricanes did. If you're looking at the rankings, so I'm not shocked that we're not in the top 25, Roman. I am shocked that we're not closer. You know, we are, if you look at if you're counting it this way, we're 30th when it comes to teams receiving votes in the AP poll. We are the second team also receiving votes in the coaches poll. They don't want us to win.
I feel like we've been there all year.
They don't want us to win.
Got a big one this Saturday. They can change some things, though, Mike.
If we do win this game, I feel like we'll be ranked going into the Miami game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we'll deserve to be at that point. 5-0 in conference play, 2-0 in the ACC, including a road win. It's hard not to rank that at this point in the year. But we'll see. Lots of stuff on the horizon, lots of stuff to be excited about. Lots of text to get to on the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. A reminder, Game Day Men's Health, redefining men's wellness with no shortcuts, just results, testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com to find out how they're defining a new era in men's health. I'm looking at the big Brett Favre poster here to the right, which we got to just, it takes every inch of restraint in me not to deface this. But poor TJ Walker, it's explosive plays. We're feeling good. Everybody's feeling good. Not everybody. Text line's been a little bit up and down. It's okay. I understand. Texter said, what's up, Mike? It's Crib Guy here. What's up, Crib Guy? Hope that crib's treating you well. Spent the weekend with Mrs. Crib Guy in Florida for one last weekend together, just the two of us, before we start putting that crib to good use in January. Saturday, after spending the first 3 quarters of the game in a few different locales, I dejectedly made my way to the pool bar at our hotel to drown my sorrows in a few cold ones. The minute I got the bar staff to turn the game on, Moss connected on the long third down pass to Lacey, and I could immediately feel the aura of the pool bar changing the tide to the game. And I could immediately feel the aura of the pool bar changing the tide to the game. From that moment, I knew that for Card Nation, I had to stay put for the rest of the game and continue drinking beers. As a result of my efforts, we know what happened the rest of the way. All that said, I just want to be clear. I don't need any hero accolades, plaques, awards, or statues for moving to the pool bar, drinking beer, and saving the game, and probably the entire season. I was just doing my part the way any true Cards fan would. Hashtag get drunk and make a difference. Hashtag long live the pool bar. Shout out to Crib Guy. Taking one for the team. Avoiding his wife, going to the pool bar, drinking heavily for the last 2 hours of the game, and leading us to a victory.
It's little things like this, Mike.
It's the little things.
Makes the difference.
I changed up a lot of things on Saturday. Changed up the morning routine. And for a while there, I was like, oh, my God, I made things worse. But made some plays in the middle of the game.
Made sure I had a little polo on out at the Midway game.
I rocked a new T-shirt for the game. It was hot also. I was like sitting outside. I went inside for a little bit. We played well, and then we started playing bad again. Went back outside. And then my wife and kids getting home for the second half. They turned the tide. My kids, in the middle of the third quarter when things are super tense, they come outside rocking these like Stitch onesies. Virginia's got Angel, who's a minor character in Lilo and Stitch. And John's rocking Stitch. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And then we started playing well. And I was like, you guys have to keep this on. I don't care how hot you are. Keep the costumes on. The second half was great. Yeah, I was kind of losing it a little bit. John was getting worried about Dad's sanity, but we were screaming a little. The best is like now John, when big plays happen, he just mimics me. And so he's like, come on, in this like very creepy, like horror film type voice. And it's my new favorite thing. He's like, come on. I love it. It's great. He's learning. We're getting him there. Texter says, Chris Teacher, notes on the game. After the pick 6, I texted my son, NJIT guy, that it was time for deuce. By the end of the game, I felt really good about Moss. looking off defenders, no-look passes, quick reads, dimes to the back of the end zone. Okay, I got to stop right here. Did you get to the point in the game where he threw the no-look pass?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, like, it was very cool, but I was like, all right, Miller.
Put it between two defenders.
I was like, we might be feeling ourselves just a tad too much in this moment. We've gone from, like, having 4 dropped interceptions and a pick 6.
But if you rewatch that play, Mike, him turning it all the way over to Isaac is what gave Chris Bell just enough of a breathing room there.
It kept the cornerback who was playing up honest, and he had to thread that thing right in there. But I was like, all right, are we really? I was like, we've gone from looking like the worst of Jack Plummer to the best of Matthew Stafford in the span of a quarter.
I mean, going through all of his progressions like he has, like, not like he has all day, but just super comfortable in the pocket. If it was a clean snap and the offensive line immediately was able to give him a little bit of protection. I mean, read 1, read 2, read 3. Oh, there it is. I'll find that one. Put it right there where it needs to go.
Maybe we just need Swaggy Miller out there thinking he can do things that maybe he really can't. But that no-look pass, I was like, all right, I love it. But also, it's like the manager from Major League, like, great catch, Hayes. Don't ever bleep and do it again. I was like, just lock it. Now, Jeff did say, I think today, that the first interception was a case of Miller locking into one target and just kind of like deciding before the play that I'm throwing it there. And he was like, we had to have a very serious talk about that. And from that point forward, it seemed like he did a much better job of, I think he also started trusting the offensive line where he was like, I'm not expecting the pass rush every time I drop back. And when he's got time, he's pretty good. Sorry, Chris.
When they sent 4 only, just their main 4 guys, I felt like we protected well.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of their thing was, Keith talked about it on Friday. They have the mentality of we don't need to bring elaborate pass rushes. We can get home with 4 and then play good coverage and junk up the middle of the field. When they did that, I mean, we protected Moss pretty well, and he kind of torched him. That's been the biggest thing with a lot of our pass plays is we haven't had time to let our guys run their routes downfield, so we haven't had like really good opportunities to take shots downfield. There were a couple times, too, where it felt like we had good screens drawn up, and Miller just couldn't wait the extra beat that he needed to for that play to develop, and as a result, he had to throw it a ball away or he was going to get sacked. And when he had time,
one in the dirt,
he was very good. Chris Teacher continues, I'm hoping that he just needed some time in the system. Lubin's out there making plays from any position and talking maximum-ish. He's already a legend. From the moment Gouveia told us that we bleeping sucked on his way out of the cart, Pitt had 0 points, 3 turnovers, and 86 yards, 56 of which came on the play right before the Watts interception. That Pitt DB should be charged with assault, and the ball boy needs an NIL deal from a local security company. Shout out to the color man Sam Echo, who used the word vernacular at one point. We have what appears to be a top-tier kicker. Cards fans were far more audible than the home crowd in the fourth quarter. The weather's going to be amazing on Saturday. Let's sell this B out and do what the T-shirt says.
Asher also had a couple moments where
he says
didn't know what he was talking about.
He says some dumb stuff. I was like, all right, I'm gonna let that. I spent most of the game like kind of pacing and like screaming, so I didn't hear a bunch of the commentary. But rewatching it over the weekend, I was like, that's just simply not right. The audible Cards cheers. Pitt. It feels like Pittsburgh is a city that's way far away, when in reality it's about the same distance as Chicago. It's like a 5-hour drive. So I guess it shouldn't be shocking that we had a bunch of fans. But even before the game got away, like you could hear CARDS cheers when we scored. You could hear defense cheers when Pitt had the ball. Props to all the Cards that made the trip to the Steel City because they made a difference. And it was cool seeing like Clev Lubin in the crowd after the game. Colin Lacey was up there signing some autographs. I think Lubin had a bunch of his family in town because they're I think from New York, and it's probably the closest they can get to making a game this year. So it was cool seeing the fans show out and seeing the players respect that after the game. Just an overall feel-good Saturday. Texas says, happy Monday, fellas. I know the show this week is going to be 95% Red Stock. It's not, I promise. But hopefully I can share a few football thoughts as well. I'm really jazzed by the Pitt game. I'm fairly certain at this point that we won't be able to clean up all of the major issues, but that's okay. This team can fight like hell, and as long as we're finding ways to adjust to counter the things that aren't working well, we'll be fine.
It's a good point there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we have the ability. Yeah, you watch some other games across the country, and there are teams where you're like, all right, we probably can't play with those guys. I think last year you watched college football, and you were like, I'm not saying we could definitely beat these teams 10 out of 10, but I felt like we could be in a game with just about anybody in the sport. I don't feel that way right now. Maybe that changes. But when you look at our schedule, I think you say outside of Miami, you kind of feel like even playing the way that we've been playing, we should be right there in a game with everybody that we have left on our schedule and have a chance to win. And even with Miami, you kind of say, all right, we got big game Braum out there. Like the guy knows how to game plans for better teams in big spots. I kind of trust his ability to get us ready to be in contention in that game. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you can win the game the way that we wanted on Saturday and you can correct some of these things that we're still looking to correct, there's nobody on that schedule, Roman, that terrifies you.
Not at all.
Even Miami.
I was going to say, Miami, they've shown that you can put points up. That teams can score on Miami, Mike. I obviously get that offensive line's tough to deal with, but I'm not really worried about a lot of these teams that I thought that were going to be tough games. And even just a couple of weeks ago, games that we thought were maybe going to be a little bit tougher are already seeming like they're not going to be all that bad. Yeah. Right? I don't think Virginia Tech's going to really wreak havoc against us with that offense. So
now, they did win in their first game after firing their coach. They beat NC State. Yeah,
but we
also did not help that was the other money line parlay that I got blasted with just because they didn't win. But you're right. Like, you look at the rest of the schedule. Who's scary out there besides Miami?
Who has a position group, or what team do we play that has multiple position groups we feel are better than ours outside of Miami?
Yeah, I think Virginia's offense is good. It's not just what they did against Florida State. They've been hanging. They've scored 40 the last 3 weeks. They've scored, the whole season, 48 points, 31 points, 55 points, 48 points, 46 points. And they've played 3 games out of those 5 against power conference opponents. They've got a great defense. They're giving up a lot of points, though, too. Like, we should be able – this could be a game where the running game gets right. I think we should be able to run on that team. We should be able to score. And the defense, if they play as well as they played, I think, in the second half against Pitt, maybe you can disrupt that Virginia offense enough that our offense can lead us to victory. BC, they beat Cal this weekend in kind of a whatever game. Neither one of those teams looked overly great. We played both. VT even winning at NC State, you kind of wonder what shape they're going to be in once they get to November. Clemson, we know all about them. SMU, I still think will be a very tough test, but they've lost to the 2 best teams that they've played so far this season. And then Kentucky may have just they may have 3 players when we play them at the end of November. So it's a very forgiving schedule. It's on us to be able to take advantage of it and then hopefully capitalize on the big opportunity that we'll have in a couple of weeks against Miami. Texter says, I tried to reset the tides of fate and watch the game in my bedroom. I switched to my emergency shirt and moved back to the living room after the pick 6. Literally, as I'm sitting, we get gifted that TD. Message received, sports gods. I know my assignment. # go cards. # eat bleat pit. # beat UVA. Look, whatever everyone did to reset the vibes throughout the game on Saturday, we all did this together. Zephian, Roman, Crib Guy, this texter, everybody else. We all did what had to be done to win this football game. And that's what matters. And that's why we're celebrating on this Victory Monday. Group effort. This program, this fan base came together.
Resilient victory, Mike.
I was going to be really mad at you for not having a loco there, by the way. I was like, this is a classic loco scenario. And thankfully, we didn't need it.
Thinking 3:30 loco this Saturday.
You should have just lied and said you took it while you were calling the game.
Can't lie, Mike. I gotta be truthful with our
I don't
fans.
think anybody was going to go back and check the Midway football tape to see how drunk you sounded during your broadcast. You could have easily lied. It'd been like, I shotgunned it on there. Although probably, maybe Midway AD is listening, and that wouldn't be good for your
he was up there.
Future prospects.
We were talking about it.
Well, that's why you had to lie. Texture says, are our running backs hurt, or is it just our O-line? Probably both, right? Yeah, I think that there's something to that. The offensive line did not look great when they were trying to run block. Duke Watson, clearly got hurt and was limited after that point. Isaac looks not himself. There's no question about that. I don't know, but that's got to get figured out. Look, if Isaac Brown is he can have a crap year for the rest of the season, and he'll still get a payday somewhere, right? The payday is going to be substantially less if you keep having games where you get 14 carries and 20 yards. The numbers now are evening out, and he hasn't had a really explosive run since the long run against James Madison. I guess the one time he touched the ball against Bowling Green, he looked pretty good. But he's got to get going. You've got to know it's in your best interest also to be giving 100% if you're good to go, if you're healthy enough. We need you. We need Duke too. We need Keon Brown back healthy. We got to get this run game going. We can't beat most teams with Miller Moss throwing 51 times. We just can't. Miller stepped up in this game, but teams will adjust moving forward now that they've seen him go against a team that was overly committed to stop the run and burn him a little bit. Texture says, PRTG here. I'm calling Skinner's TD a mini wheel route. More of a coming out soiree for him than a party like I predicted. Zephian moment equals the Waterman shot. Ooh. What do you think about that, Roman? Is that our Noah Waterman game winner against
EKU?
EKU.
It is. A little bit.
I like that. Roman, some of them things were thung. Good call. Can't believe they both made it. If the Tigers and Reds face off in the World Series, I'll buy every Tigers-Reds fan Big X listener tickets to Game 1. Trevor's also said if the Blue Jays play I've got 3 AL friends who are like, if this happens, we got to go. Like Blue Jays, if they play the Reds, Trevor's like, I'm buying us tickets. I'll buy us. I'm like, how are you? How's that going to happen? But deal. And then, my buddy coaches for the Red Sox, and he's like, dream scenarios, we play the Reds. I was like, if you can get me field level tickets, I'll go. I'll wear a Red Sox hat and cheer for the Reds when that happens. But I'm excited to watch not just the Reds, but my buddy coaching against the Yankees who fired him a couple of years ago.
Time to get his get back.
It's personal. It's personal for him. He's had a great run with the Red Sox. His family's all headed up there for the series, which is cool. They live in Florida now where the Red Sox headquarters are located, and they're all going up there for all the games of at least this series. He's got 4 young boys, and so it's kind of cool. He also says a video of him celebrating the locker room where he's FaceTiming his wife, and he's soaked with with those shirts. I'm like, that's a cool moment. I'm very happy for Dylan. Texas says, Mike and Roman, I need you to reenact how you responded to Quinn's dropped pick, starting from the moment the ball was batted in the air. This was probably my biggest freak out of the entire game. So, I mean,
no.
I was more angry than that. It's up in the air. I'm like, come on, catch it, and then he drops it, and I mean, I think I said some things that I can't say on air, but it was very much you've got to catch that ball, you've got to make that play. Except serious, where I'm about to just die. It was bad. That was probably. It was worse than the pick six. The pick six, I was just stunned silence. The TJ Quinn drop, it was bad. Very bad. He made up for it, though.
Definitely made up for it.
Dropped the easiest one, caught the 2 toughest ones.
Big sack.
As a result, he's your ACC linebacker of the week, by the way.
Player of the game.
Chris Bell is your ACC wide receiver of the week. Also the East-West Shrine Game national wide receiver of the week. And I think RotoWire's national wide receiver of the week as well. He's been hauling in the accolades, as he deserves to. This is our North Dakota texter, by the way. He also says the best development in Saturday's game was the chemistry between Moss and Lacey on the hot route to counter the pit blitz. It consistently went for 7 to 10 yards. This is a great point.
He was catching it at the 5-yard mark and getting an extra 5 every time, it felt like.
Yes. This is something that Jeff, I think, has been hammering into Miller Moss, where if you see that the run's not there, you've got to check into this play, and you've got to read the hot route, and you got to get it out of your hands quickly. And he kept going to this, where he didn't need to step into the throw. It was snap, not really step into it, kind of throwing off your back leg, hitting Colin Lacey in stride, and letting him fall forward for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yards. And
Miller's got great velocity on those throws, too.
100%. And that's kind of Lacey's bread and butter. He's a legit downfield threat, but he's more of that slot, kind of go over the middle, sure-handed guy who's not afraid to take some licks, and he's
still good to see him catch that deep one, though.
For sure. Lacey's an absolute monster.
Is that the first completion to him this season?
He had a touchdown catch earlier on a deep ball. I want to say in the first or the third game. He hasn't done as much of it this year, but he hasn't needed to. He's been a master. He's been great. But this is a huge development. This will also keep teams, I think, from if we keep doing this, this will keep you from being 95% focused on stopping the run, which is something that we need to happen. Texas, the only thing that stopped this weekend from being epic is Scott Satterfield weaseling a win at Kansas, and Lamar crapping the bed versus the Chiefs. I actually called the other bet that I hit this weekend. I was like, this is a classic Satterfield spot. He's going to win this game. Did you see the post-game video of him with the backwards hat?
No.
I mean, it looks like an absolute ass. Just look, you can't pull it off, Scott. You're not a backwards hat guy. You're a visor guy. Looked ridiculous. He's hugging the quarterback he's like drenched in Gatorade with the backwards hat. I'm like, you beat unranked Kansas. Get over yourselves. Texture says, sounds like Roman's ACL just stuffed Quaintance' ACL in a locker. You read that text earlier.
No, that's right.
Great text. Damn right. Texture says, Roman never wavered. 10 out of 10. Mike, tell the folks who you picked. Happy to be wrong. Rarely have I been happier to be wrong.
Got to start being more confident in this team, Mike.
Look, for a while there, I was too confident. I was like 4-point loss. We're going to lose by 34. So when initially Saturday night came around, I was like, I think we're going to lose to Virginia. I'm feeling confident. I started feeling confident last night. I think Morris may be a little bit banged up. The computer numbers are all kind of like, we still don't buy Virginia that much. This was a spot for them. I mean, it's a good spot to be playing Virginia, is it not? You got all of the celebration of last week. That you beat Florida State at home. You have the crazy field storm. You're getting all this national attention. You put a lot into that game. This feels like a classic letdown spot on the road against a team that probably is more talented than you are pound for pound.
Coming off a big win like that.
If we're going to play them, this is actually, I think, the spot that's the best for us to play them right now. So I like the setup for us. I hope we can take advantage. For sure.
Dude, 3 of those things, too, Mike.
Did he throw 3 in that game?
3.
He was out. They kind of were just putting the whole game in his hands. The wheel route that he threw for the touchdown after his initial touchdown got called back.
Gorgeous
throw. Like that guy, he's a ball player. No question about it. I think there are a lot of people that thought maybe he was going to be our quarterback. Texture says, Mike, congratulations for having your old picture removed from the Big X website. It had to be done. Is it off?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't gone to the website. BigXSportsRadio.com. Oh, look at this. That's a revamped website right there. Local sports talk. Token generic shot of fans cheering right there. Look at that. 4 years later, that's like a new logo for our show right there. Look at your logos. You have different logos for both your shows, Roman.
I got logos.
Running with Roman and Roman's recap. I kind of like your logos are better than mine.
I'm not mad at these.
Ooh, Michael Bennett's got the cursive font for his cats. Just the cats. Spears on Sports looks like some sort of like
insurance.
Insurance.
It's like their electrical company.
Conservative talk radio. That's what it looks like right there.
Also, the report looks like I use font.
Also, my logo looks like it's Mike Show Rutherford.
Not mad at it.
I'm fine with it. Texture says, why does Miller Moss remind me of Matt Saracen? Also, what's the deal with that Pitt guy getting carted off saying F you? I don't know, but I loved it. Roman, are you familiar with Matt Saracen, Friday Night Lights?
No.
TV show. Miller Moss, Saracen is very much not a Cali swag kid. He's small-town Texas kid with a heart of gold who gets thrust into a terrible position to be a starting quarterback as a sophomore after their star gets paralyzed. I don't like that comparison. They're both kind of quiet white kids. That's about it. Maybe they look a little bit alike. I think Miller Moss has some Cali swag in him.
I feel like he's only quiet on game day.
I can see that. I can't get the image of when they beat LSU last year and the players reenacted the get the gat dance in the locker room that LSU had done at the White House a few years earlier. Like he's front and center doing it. Like he's out there, he's doing the get the gat dance, and I can't get that image out of my head. Like he's got more in him when it comes to that swagginess than I think we've seen so far.
I think so.
He's not that quiet. Texas CFB here. Congrats, Mike. Oh, this is Cubs fan Brian. It was so fitting for the Reds to lose a must-win game to a Brewers team with literally nothing to play for. Hey, they started Wandy Peralta. Only for the Mets to haplessly put up a goose egg in response. It reminded me of the South Park. I made the same comparison last week. With that being said, Cards fan Brian's head is still spinning. Miller Moss and the Cards had me feeling every emotion possible, even ones that I didn't know existed. I don't know what Miller took at halftime, but my God, if we could get a lot more second half Moss instead of first half Moss, we could be dangerous. Figure it out, Miller. I think he was good at the end of the second quarter for the most part, too, besides that last drive.
I feel like the penalties, take away the first quarter penalties, don't think we feel that bad about his first quarter.
Agree. Well, that one drive was terrible. He threw one pick. He tried to throw like three. But yesterday morning, I texted our Reds text group, and I was like, I feel like our only way in is Marlins win. And it's 100% what happened. Like, the lineup we put out there was terrible. They started Peralta, even though he only went, I think, like 4 innings. It was just, I felt that was the only way that could have ended. Look, we won the series. First time we beaten the Brewers in a series in 14 series. We still earned it. CFB, we're coming for you. I would love to meet you in the playoffs. We won 4 last time. We can win 4 again. Let's take a break. God, we have a million texts to get to. I love it, though. It's Monday. We're celebrating. We're commiserating. We'll continue doing it after the break. Keep it locked right here. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical on 1450 and 96.1, The Big X.
Hey there, New Albany. This is Mayor Jeff Gahan.
Welcome in the third and final hour of today's show here on the Big X. The good thing about Mondays on the Big X, the great thing about Mondays on the Big X, though, is that when we call it a day at 5:30, we're not wrapped up when it comes to U of L Sports Talk. Dalton Pence and company will be here from 5:30 to 7. So if you're loving soaking up all of the U of L over Pitt football victory talk and the celebration here, you get another 90 minutes of that when Dalton and company are on from 5:30 to 7. So keep it locked right here after we sign off. Roman, I'll start third hour. A little bit of trivia time. You ready for this?
Always ready for some trivia.
So the AP Top 25 poll came out today. Our opponent on Saturday, Virginia, is ranked number 24. Vanderbilt is also ranked in the AP Top 25. What year was the last time when Virginia and Vanderbilt were both ranked in the same AP Top 25 poll? It has happened before, so you can't say never.
1956.
Earlier.
32.
Later.
1944.
Later. One last guess.
48.
Ah, so close. 1947 was the last time that Vanderbilt and Virginia were both ranked in the AP Top 25 poll. It's going to be the last time as well for a long time because Virginia's getting knocked out after this week. Let's go. I'm feeling swaggy this week, Roman. I'm feeling
good?
confident. I'm feeling kind of good.
What's the early Monday confidence check?
Early Monday confidence check. I'm feeling like like 7.7.
Okay.
Feeling pretty good. That's very good. 77% chance of winning this game. That's more than what the experts would say. I'm feeling things are going too right now. I feel good about this.
About a 9.5.
I think I like the way that
Virginia hasn't seen a defense like this yet.
They haven't. I like the way that we won the game. I think people overreacted to Florida State beating Alabama, and then as a result, they're overreacting to Virginia beating Florida State, and I think we're going to bring them back down to earth this week. I feel good. I like the way in which we won the game. I feel like that's going to inspire everybody for the remainder of the week. We've got World Series odds out there. The Philadelphia Phillies are your favorite at plus 400. Dodgers and Mariners are co-second choices at plus 500. Then Blue Jays at plus 750. Yankees and Brewers tied at plus 800. The Reds have the worst odds on the board, plus 3,500. That's okay. Since the action gets underway tomorrow, before we even come on the air, Tigers Guardians first pitch is 1 o'clock. The Reds will play late night. I love these late night games. It could not have worked out better for me. If I had to do a show this week, Roman, while the Reds were playing a playoff game, it would have been bad for everybody concerned.
Like me doing the show.
You would have been upset. Listeners would have been annoyed. I would have been annoyed. Whole thing would have been bad. So this is the best thing about us playing the Dodgers is we get 3 games potentially, all starting off at 9:08.
But it's the Dodgers.
But still, I mean, I'm not going to. We played well against the Dodgers.
True.
Outside of their sweep the last time we played them, we've done pretty well. We got Hunter Green and Andrew Abbott. I'd be kind of pissed off if I'm the Dodgers having to play us, although we can't score runs. But still, good starting pitching. Do we want to make some World Series predictions before the playoffs start real quickly?
Do it.
I'm going to take the Phillies to come out of the National League. I think they've been the best team all season long. They're the most talented team. I know the Brewers are the 1 seed. I think the Phillies are the best team in that league. They're going to play the New York Yankees. The Yankees are going to be the 4 seed that comes out on top. I don't trust the Mariners. If they run into the Yankees, they always lose to the Yankees in the playoffs. I feel like the Yankees will get it done there. And I just feel like the other top seeds are, I'm not going to say frauds, but I don't trust the Jays. Their bullpen is awful. I hope the Red Sox can beat the Yankees, but I think the Yankees get it done. Phillies over the Yankees, just like last year's World Series, 5 games. Yankees only get 1, and the National League is celebrating again. Who are you taking?
Ohtani's going back-to-back, Mike.
Ooh.
He's going to beat the Mariners. He's going to knock them off. They're going to upset everybody.
That'd be a sexy World Series, too.
I like it.
Big dumper versus Shohei.
Yep.
Let's get it going. I'm excited. Action starting tomorrow. Should be a fun playoffs. Hopefully the Reds can make some October magic and keep this train rolling. But back to the game.
I'm rooting for the Reds, though, Mike.
I appreciate you. I'm
officially here on the record, hoping that they can get past the Dodgers. But that is my World Series pick.
Just happy to be here at this point. By the way, preseason prediction was 84 wins and missed the playoffs. We won 83 games and made the playoffs somehow. I mean, really and truly, the worst wild card battle in the history of baseball. But all that matters is we won it. Big shout out to the Cubs for giving us 4 games and kind of making it happen. We got it done. We're here. Now let's see if we can make some memories. We have, like I said, it's Classic Monday. 8,000 texts to get to on the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. We'll try to get to as many as we can. We'll keep it going here. Texter says, can we pour one out for our boy Cutter? He had a rough night. The amount of people that I saw tagging you on Twitter when I wasn't even. I was watching the Reds. I watched 0.0 seconds of Kentucky versus South Carolina.
Does Stoops not know that boy had 200 rushing yards his senior year of high school? Run the ball, Mark. He's dual threat.
The problem ain't Cutter. The problem is the offense. Run the ball.
It ain't Cutter's fault.
Come on, Bush. Come on, Bush. Put him in a position to win. Stoops. More like stupid.
Run the ball. Get the ball in Cutter's hands. Let him run the ball. You'll see some improvement.
I was getting updates throughout. Like I said, I flipped the game on when the Reds ended. And they were already down 35-13. I was like, oh, maybe they'll get in a fight or something. But then when I saw all that was happening else in college football, I flipped over to Oregon, Penn State, watched the end there, watched Alabama, Georgia. I mean, it was an incredible day of college football. But people were texting me, and they were like, are you watching Cutter right now? I was like, I'm watching the Reds. And they were like, well, he just threw a pick six and then just did the dumbest thing ever on the next play. The little bit that I watched, I mean, I'm surprised he lived through that game. Every time he dropped back, there were three guys just absolutely destroying him. I thought Kentucky's offensive line was supposed to be good. Again, very limited sample size from what I saw, but they were getting their asses handed to them, and it doesn't sound like Cutter was doing well.
Not putting him in the best spot, and he's not really doing much in that spot.
I also saw the one touchdown they had. The dude just drilled the South Carolina fan with the ball. I don't know how that's not a penalty in this day and age, but whatever.
Objection if we did it.
Kentucky's done. There's no hope there. I think everyone's reached the all is lost moment. I hope they beat Georgia this weekend. Just chaos, and also maybe save Stoops' job. I wouldn't be surprised if Stoops just walks away at the end of the season. He's like, it's not worth the $850 million buyout. I've got to get out of the city. I got to get away from this program. I won them 10 games in 2 years, and they still hate me. We got to leave. I think everyone's just quit there. They're all just resigned. I don't know who's going to play quarterback for them. I'm not sure Cutter can survive this. I don't know if Calzada's probably going to retire like the kid last year. I mean, they may have, their best offense against us in some years has been having like a running back play quarterback. Maybe they'll just do that.
Just run it every single play.
They beat us that way a couple of times a few years ago. So maybe that's the best offense for them moving forward. Not the first time they've done it. Probably won't be the last. Texter says, is a little dumper. I'll no longer question Brown and Watson actually being injured. Those guys couldn't cut or change direction at all on Saturday. They do actually need to block and pass protection, though.
Oh, Watson did a good job in the second half.
Duke sold out to throw some blocks for sure. Isaac's got to. If you're going to play, man, we need you to lay the body out a little bit more for the passing game. Texas says, I thought it may have been the case, but Kelly Dickey confirmed it was the first time Louisville football had ever overcome multiple double-digit deficits to win the game. Ooh, that's a great fact.
That's a cool stat.
So we trailed by double figures on multiple occasions in this game and came back to win. That's wild. Props to this team, man. Also, if you're a Pitt fan, you just got to be like, well, the season's over. They blew it. I think they led by 10 in the fourth quarter against West Virginia as well and lost in overtime.
Yep.
And then they completely choke it away against us. You got to be done. You got to be done. Texter says, geez, I know it was ESPN, but that game had CW all over it. But a win's a win. More importantly, I don't care who they have scheduled to press the train horn button Saturday against Virginia. We have to replace them with Zephian. Oh, do we have Zephian do the big button before the game?
Yeah. Zephian might have, he might be getting a new position or something. He might have worked his way up the lineup, Mike.
I without question. I mean, there's big time potential. Who was the kid from McNeese? I've already forgotten his name. Who got the big, the big NIL deal? Remember?
Oh, in the tournament last year,
because he would like rap when they would come out.
He would be carrying their boombox.
Called himself Aura. Amir Khan was his name. I mean, this is Zephy. He's been on national shows today. He's kind of all over the place. This is a big moment for him to potentially capitalize and get like an NIL deal.
He could.
There needs to be some sort of security company that reaches out and says, we're going to put you in a commercial or put out some tweets for us. Do something on your social media.
If it wasn't ACC on ACC crime, I'm sure the ACC would have used it.
ACC should still use it. Yeah, Pitt doesn't care about you. And they're basically not even in the conference. What's Pitt done for ACC football or ACC at large besides go to the Final Four and lose in the Final Four in volleyball every year? You don't care about Pitt.
Get our guy an NIL deal.
See those fans up there? It's like 3,500 fans. They were just all talking about the Steelers game before it was even played, while they were at the Pitt Panthers game. Our fans were louder than their fans. We got to get Zephian going. I have
Did
like.
you reach out to him? I'm surprised you didn't have him planned on the show today.
I told you. I said this at the very beginning of the show. He reached out to me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
We had a back and forth. He said he's going to come on. He said initially that he could probably make Wednesday work because Mondays are tough for equipment managers, and he's got another job apparently that he's working on. It goes to school, but I was a little bit. Then he was on like a million shows this morning. I was like, oh, Dan Meskey, just doing the Meskey thing. He loves the show. He's just inspired by Dan Meskey. Continue with the text. Crowd would go nuts, and he single-handedly can fix Joker and the Thief vibes if we get him out there dancing. Josh, I know you're listening. Make it happen. Also, Big Z, we can't call him that. Better not have to buy a drink in this city ever again. I need his uniform hanging in Roosters yesterday, Mike. This is Ball Boy U. Go Cards, go Reds. Yeah, we need to do something about this.
Can't be Big Z, though.
He can't be Big Z. He's Zeph, apparently, is what they call him. Everyone calls him Zeph. And when you have a name like Zephian, you don't need a nickname at that point. Like you're Z, you're Zeph, you're Zeph. Does that mean Zephian could be like a one? He didn't need a last name. He's good to go. Kid's got aura. We don't say aura anymore though. That's done. What were some of those terms that we had from the Google search list?
I remember the bad ones. Chopped.
I think they all were bad. I don't know. We need some of the good ones out there. Texture says Jeff finally ran a QB sneak and it worked twice. There was a point there where I was like, let's just Miller Moss push all the way down the field. He was getting like 3 or 4 yards on those two pushes. It was great. Boney Dumper says, I can't blame the Pitt player for cussing out our entire team. If anyone breaks my leg, I'd do the exact same thing. We didn't break. He broke his leg. He broke his leg by being bad at football. I have no idea what happened, actually, but I can't not give the kid crap when he's cussing out our team after being carted off the field.
Should have blocked better.
Should have blocked better. Be a better blocker. You don't want to. Oh, that's too much. It's bad. Now I feel bad. I can't even be that mean. Texas Bourbon guy here. I've painted myself in a corner again this year. We're 4-0 and I haven't worn U of L gear on game day yet. What are you doing? I guess I got to get my Cards gear out more during the week. Also, the punt, turnover, touchdown combo was the kind of stupid luck we never seem to get. Was happy to see it. We did have a number of things happen in this game where it was just like, this isn't usually us. This is.
I went from Meeks, what are you doing? To, oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there were a handful of things that happened where it was like, this is something that always goes the other way. And
it seemed like that was the case on the sideline, too, at that play. Like, as soon as they called it our way, it looked like Jeff Brom and the staff started scrambling to get the right play out.
They had no thought. There was no thought in their mind that we were getting the ball back at that point. Yeah, and I think Jeff was like, someone had to tell him that we were getting the ball back, and he's like, oh, I guess I have a play here.
Yeah, somebody came and said something in his ear here, and he started immediately put his headset back down and pulled his plays out. Thought that was funny.
Also, why are you not wearing? I mean, we had the easiest stretch of the season to start. If you didn't wear Cards gear in week 1 against DKU,
you can't touch any Cards gear now.
And you're worried about, you could have easily been like, oh, okay, well, I wore it against Bowling Green and James Madison. Now we're good to go, and now we've got a winning streak going. Can't do it now.
Now you have to wait for a first loss and a reset.
Now you're locked in. Now you're wearing like green T-shirts to home games. That's your fault, Bourbon guy. Come on. Texas, hey, Mike and Roman, I texted about it this summer, and I have to say it again. Our end of half clock management is absolutely terrible. I could not agree more. I'm all there with you. I think we've touched on it enough. It says, overall, though, I feel pretty solid about the game, and I think we watched Miller exercise some demons and get a little swagger back. Also, shout out to Nick Keller for stopping Blue Hicks on the kickoff after we took the lead. It looked as though he had a seam until Keller stepped in front of him. Won't be a memorable play, but it was important in my eyes.
I wrote this down and completely forgot to say it, Mike. He tried to deliver a hit on Hicks.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Did not go well for him.
Changed his direction, but didn't bring him down.
So did you notice? So he tries to lay him out. He's like, this is my moment. And Hicks doesn't, Hicks kind of, you're right, stunts the momentum, but Keller gets the worst of it.
Yeah, it's flattened.
And when he gets up, he kind of goes backwards. he starts like running back. The play's still going on.
He starts running to the sideline.
He pops up and he's like, all right, that was my one shot at glory. You could tell right then he was like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
He probably played a normal position in high school football where he was one of the bigger guys and made tackles. And that was his moment where it's like, all right, I'm not big anymore. I can't. I'm not that type of kicker. Never again is this going to happen. That was a very funny moment because like the way that he's like approaching it, I'm like, oh, he's gonna lay him out, and he hits him, but he didn't go down. And Keller himself gets knocked backwards a little bit, and then he gets up and he's like, all right, I'm trotting away from the play. Texas Don Chaney is back in the portal. Let's go get old reliable. If we needed a yard, he got us a yard. If we needed 3 yards, he got us a yard. Consistency.
He'd be the best pass blocker on the team if we had him.
He did not get us a yard last year. We needed a yard. Watch the Notre Dame game again. I didn't realize he was back in the portal. He was playing for Charlotte. I guess they're like 0-4. And Don Chaney, I mean, okay. I don't want to say something mean about a former player, but like, man, maybe it's time to get a job. It's been 7 years of college football.
Good pass blocker, Mike.
Great pass blocker. We could use him back there for that. Can he join? I mean, are there any rules anymore? Like, can we just get him on the team right now? Can he play Saturday?
I mean,
get him over here.
Like everybody has like some JUCO year or something these days.
He's desperate to take a business administration class, graduate level. Get him over here. We offer that class. School of Business, business.louisville.edu.
They mentioned like 3 times Miller's going to getting his master's on the broadcast.
Well, I think he's already got 2 graduate degrees, and I think he's going for a 3rd right now. It's a different world. Texas Mike, I'm not gloom and doom, but I do think it's time to worry about the offense. Look at this. We only had 2 drives of 60 yards or more. Only had 1 of those drives result in a touchdown. Our 3rd longest drive was only 36 yards. We only had 2 drives longer than 36 yards. The thing is, I can't now say it was a bad game. The issues through the first 3 games continued into this game, so it's no longer a bug. It's a feature. It's now a trend rather than an anomaly. The offensive line just isn't getting a push, and my worry for the injuries, those things won't get better unless we have to sit a guy. Running back is a very tough position, and they'll continue to take hits. I'll take a win, but they had 2 mistakes on punts and 2 interceptions that pretty much handed us the game. I'm proud of us not quitting, and we'll never hate on a loss, but the concerns are there for the long-term outlook of the season. The one thing that I would say is we didn't have many opportunities to have longer drives than that because of the field position game that we were in. I mean, yeah, I don't think anybody is saying that the game was perfect. If we play that game
they rarely are on the road in conference.
For sure. I mean, if we play that game this weekend against Virginia, we might get beat. If we play that game against Miami in 3 weeks, we'll definitely get beat. So we've got to
expect us not to go down 17-0 on our home field.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were things happen. The big thing, I think, is that we adjusted. We had every opportunity in the world to pack it up and say, well, whatever, like, we got our asses kicked, let's go home. And some guys are going to, like, talk about redshirting. Some guys are going to talk about the portal. And the rumors about players holding out are going to get amplified. And Miller Moss stinks and all this stuff. And they avoided all of that by gritting their teeth, staying together, and really doing some positive things. I mean, if you had said after Miller Moss's interception, what do you think his stat line's going to be? Nobody would have said 339 with 3 touchdowns. And that's exactly what he did. He played a fantastic game. The wide receivers stepped up immensely.
And a rushing touchdown in there, too, yeah.
That's right. I mean, the defense was terrific for outside of like 1 drive from that point forward. So, I mean, is there negative? Sure.
In a game that got an immediately ugly start and you had to rely on him, he got the job done.
Yeah. I mean, I think that
offensive line, I mean, you're right there. It's a feature now. I had the same exact thought rewatching the game this morning about the running back. Like, when are they going to get healthy, Mike? We keep saying this. We need them to healthy. We need to get the run game going. Keywan's out. Isaac and Duke clearly not themselves. You can't rely on true freshmen who are figuring it out still in this offense. And you got to go play Virginia where you're going to have to run the ball again.
You'd think so. It's either some guys get healthy and the offensive line blocks better, or we go out there and we try to win again where Miller Moss has to throw the ball 50-plus times. I mean,
glad we have a bye after that.
It did feel like Miller was back in he's like, all right, I'm used to this. Like that was every game for USC last year.
Yeah, I texted you something about that.
Did you? I may have missed
like, it. Poor fella came over here to the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
had O-line, no run game, he has to do it all.
It was every USC game from last season. Thankfully, they won this one. Texas, who should we cheer for in FSU Miami? Miami wins their top 2 to 3 when we play, but if FSU wins, it notches down Miami and levels out the ACC standings. I think you always, with us right now, with the position we're in, you always cheer for the teams that you play.
If FSU had just beat Virginia, I'd say I want a Miami win. Now I don't care.
I still want a Miami win. I mean, because if we take care of business, like we hold those chips in our, where we like. I wanted Georgia Tech to lose this weekend because we don't play them. We don't get a chance to beat them. I was rooting for Virginia to beat Florida State because we play Virginia. We can't. If Florida State goes 8-0, there's nothing we can do about it. If Virginia has a chance to go 8-0, we can make them 7-1. I think you always root for the team that you get to play because then you're holding more of your own destiny in your own hands. Now, is that smart in this scenario? Maybe not, because maybe we look back at it and we lose to Miami and we need them to be 7-1 to have a shot to make the conference championship game. I mean, all I'm focused on right now is us at this point. I don't think we're good enough
to be worrying about
to start playing the game. I think last year we were. I think that this year it's all going to be about just finding a way to get ourselves to 7-1, ideally 8-0, obviously, and then kind of letting the chips fall where they may. But we got to get better. Texture says, as far as the game Saturday, what a win. It was 17-0, and the only reason I didn't mentally give up was because we have Jeff Brom. All those Miller Moss first half tweets looking real funny in the light, but the real test is Saturday because I told you, Mike, Pitt's QB is duty. You're right. He did not play well. We were flat out a better team than them, even with the run contained, and the fan base low-key owes our backs an apology. All the chatter about NIL and fights and all that crap for them to go out there and give it all, both operating at maybe 60%, cardiac cards, baby. Road to 6-0, and also Roman said,
I did not say that.
It sounded like that. That's what it sounded like. Maybe the L was in there and it just wasn't heavily pronounced.
I was talking too fast. That's all it was.
It's okay. It's fine. It's all right. Texas, what a game, Mike. One thing about Brahms teams that I've loved so far is they always have shown the ability to win close games like this one. Antonio Watts, early nominee for Play of the Year on that goal line pick. The game was finished. If he doesn't make that play, you're probably right.
Did you read the last texter's text before that?
What was it?
This is the texter that.
Oh, this is the guy who had the June text.
June texter.
Okay, we got to read it now. The guy who had his friend wants to kick my ass. What's up, fellas? I have a lot to say. It said he was going to be done with the show because, I'm not black. That was the guy. I knew that June text would set off the text line on fire, but my God, I didn't think it would make people go, "Hi, Mike, I'm black and I love you." I appreciated it. Geez, people, I know tensions are high in America right now, but let's cool it. And Mike, my buddy, said that he'd call a truce if we beat Pitt, so you should be all good. But then again, he didn't specify which sport, so hopefully we beat Pitt in basketball, soccer, baseball, etc. Stay dangerous, Mike. I'm more confused.
This friend's crazy. It's not even anything based on you, Mike.
His friend hated me and wants to kick my ass, but says he'll forgive it if we beat Pitt?
And it's all based on football outcomes.
I don't know what's going on here. And quite frankly, I appreciated the people texting it and saying that they were black and supported me. Because after a second there, I was like, they're like, well, Roman's not black enough, and I'm white, and why are we listening to these white guys talk about sport? I didn't like it. I was just more confused than anything. I also don't. Why did you have to send that text in? He sent in I think Cards win 20-10, and then sent his last. He's like, here, by the way, here's this text that I sent in from June that you didn't read. And I was like, I may not read the text. I'm leaving the show. I'm so confused still. This clarified nothing. It only made me more disturbed by what's happening. Texture says, what a game, Mike. When the Brahms teams, they always have shown the ability. Thank you for pointing that out, by the way, Roman, because I completely missed it.
Thought that needed to be read.
It definitely needed to be read, but now my head's spinning again, though. My one overwhelming concern continues to be the offensive line. I agree. It's Pete Nigra and 4 scrub transfers from the Sun Belt. Every time I look at Lance Robinson, he's on his ass trying to fight some dude after the play. I mean, it's not wrong. Stadium should be packed this weekend. No excuses from anyone, even you, Mike. Pack the house, get drunk, throw the ball right at Devin Neal all game. I forgot Devin Neal's on Virginia. Devin Neal, of course, who famously said after the first 4 games last year they didn't want to play anymore, wanted to stay with the team, and Jeff was kind of like, no, like you don't have to play, but you can't really stay with us. And now he transferred to Virginia. I totally forgot about that. I think we're trying to get the fam there this weekend. We're gonna try to find some tickets, and
I'll get in there with you.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make a play, try to make our season debut for this game. I feel like every game we go to, it's against Virginia.
I need a ticket for the girlfriend.
Which is very confusing for my daughter. Yeah, if you got access to tickets, let us know because we could use some help there. If not, we'll shell out top dollar. It's fine. Texas Santiago Espinal World Series MVP.
I like it.
We're only in the playoffs because we finally stopped playing Santiago Espinal. He's just taken up a roster spot. I've got no idea why he's on the team at this point. We have the defense. We don't need that anymore. He can't hit. He's a righty. We could have at least had like Reese Hines or someone that gives us a chance on the right. I'm not complaining anymore. We made the playoffs. It's great. Watching Danny's uncles get doused in champagne yesterday was fantastic. All right, we got to go to break. One segment left. There's no way we get through all the texts, but we'll do our best after the break. Keep it locked right here on the Big X. Lame knockoff ass version is this? Give me King Harvest or give me nothing.
Sorry.
Which, by the way, the first 20 years of my life, I thought it was Van Morrison. And then I was searched for it. I downloaded on Napster back in the day, and I was like, oh, it's not Van Morrison. Shout out to King Harvest. It's the original. Who is that? That's some
Top loader.
Country bro country music knockoff.
Yeah.
By the way, what do you think of Bad Bunny doing the halftime show, Super Bowl?
That got announced?
Yeah, last night. They announced it during the Cowboys halftime of the Cowboys-Packers game. Put out a video.
Oh, I didn't see it. I don't like it.
Why not? You're not a Bad Bunny guy?
Not really.
I know who he is. I know that he does acting. I know that he does wrestling.
Got a couple cool songs.
I couldn't name one song.
I couldn't either, but I've heard them. They're dancing songs, you know.
I felt like because I've watched him on SNL. I watched him in Happy Gilmore too. I think he's genuinely funny.
Yeah,
clearly
cool personality.
Clearly very talented. Clearly, I mean, he has a huge following. But when it got announced, I was like, oh God, like I'm becoming the 70-year-old who's like, I don't know any of the songs by this person. And it made me feel better that I feel like everybody my age and several people younger have been like, I know who he is. I don't know the music that well.
Yeah, I feel like it's the kind of artist where the majority of Super Bowl, well, you can't say that, but the majority of the intense football fans watching the Super Bowl aren't going to know of his main hits.
I feel like that's probably, I mean, I don't know what his main hits are. That's me. I fall into that category. It's probably the first time I've had a halftime show where I felt that way. But props to him. Hosting SNL this weekend. He's riding the wave. Feeling good. But the reaction was what I was just excited to see people get mad about it. I mean, again, like I don't know the music, but I also don't care. I'll watch. I'll enjoy it. But like the people who are like, I'm never gonna watch the halftime show. I'm like, cool. Like, you don't have to. Nobody cares. You're probably gonna watch anyway. You're just gonna leave the TV on and then get angry about it on Twitter.
I feel like they say it's him, but they're still gonna bring out like 3 or 4 different people.
You're probably right. There'll probably be some supporting cast. Although a lot of people said that it was going to happen last year with Kendrick, and it was pretty much kind of just him. We'll see. Anyway, we got like 25 minutes left. This classic Monday. I mean, we're only at like the 3:11 mark from when people were texting in their texts. We appreciate it, though. We love the swarm of texts that we get on a Monday. We love the swarm of texts that we get anytime at 502-414-1450. Hopefully, the ones that we don't get to, we can have Dalton. You guys can feast on those for the next 90 minutes after we get off here. Deal?
Deal.
Let's go. 502-414-1450. We'll read as many as we can before I've got to get out of here, but we will make some predictions as well for the Monday night games. And then, Roman, do you want to do Big X, Big Bets?
Oh, yeah. I'll get them out during your show.
Okay, let's go. Texas, hey, Mike. 4-0 feels good no matter what. One team that I think we're kind of comparable to this year is Ole Miss. I would take that. Every fan realizes that last year's team is better than this one, but our teams have a knack for just winning. Winning is a skill, especially when you don't play great, like the Ole Miss UK game. I still have so much hope for this team, and I still believe we got some weird voodoo where we just end up with a win rather than win ugly. I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty like Miami last year. I mean, I would love to take the Ole Miss comparison. I mean, we both are kind of winning ugly. There's a little bit of a difference in winning ugly against LSU than there is winning ugly against Pitt. But I'll take it. We're basically a top 5 team. I'm good. I'm running with it. I'm taking it. People are agreeing with you on the stickers, Roman.
Okay, good. Glad I wasn't going crazy there. Yeah, I hate to
go ahead.
Be have something like that be something my brain's noticing as a negative throughout the game. I'm just like, why do I feel like I keep seeing these stickers on these helmets? But it's when it's Clef Lubin and it's Miller Moss, yeah, you're probably going to see them pretty regularly on the screen. So
yeah, multiple people are saying the same thing. Agree on the stickers. Agreed. The stickers were annoying to those who have attention to design detail. The stickers were a problem for the neurotic in me. Agree that it was the helmet type and sent in a picture. Yeah, I just didn't notice this. Maybe I don't pay attention to detail in games.
Looks cheap.
I didn't notice.
I don't like it.
Technicals and Sam Acho sucks as an announcer as well. Everything he said he would do, the teams did the opposite. Yeah, there were a couple times where it was like, you got to punt here. I'm like, no, you don't. What are you talking about? And I was just like, you sound absolutely ridiculous.
And they're when they would leave segments or like before commercial breaks, like their hype statements and phrases, like they're, are you guys trying to appease like 16-year-old listeners or something?
They're auditioning for a Sports Center anchor. I'm like, no, it's not working here. This is a noon game on ESPN2. Just play to the crowd.
Just
call the damn game. You're not going to get recognized here. Let's stop. Texture says, we got it done. We're only getting better, just like the last 2 seasons. The O-line started slow and it's starting to pick it up just in time. We're one of 3 undefeated ACC teams left with 2 unranked opponents coming up the next 2 weeks. It's time for us to lock in as a fan base and pack the stadium this weekend. This team's ceiling is very high. They're not just going to compete for our attention when basketball starts. They're going to be the talk of the town going into November. Get on board. Are you in agreement, Roman, that the ceiling for this team is super high?
The football team?
Yes.
No.
I'm not either.
I think ACC title games should still feel possible and feel like the aspiration, but that should not also be the expectation. The team where we thought we would shine, we haven't shined even a little bit. I feel like not consistently at all, at least yet, and now dealing with kind of some injury issues. And the most important aspect to running the ball is having a good offensive line. That's been bad. So it's hard for me to view the ceiling as very high when I honestly think it's lower than where I felt it was at the start of the season, based on what I've seen so far.
I do too, but let's call it what it is. The ACC kind of stinks.
It does. So I'm, based on our schedule and who's achieving right now in the ACC, two teams that are very susceptible to having things change midway, late points in the season in GT and Miami. Granted, Miami hasn't had a roster like this in a while, but
I mean, look, you look at the schedule. I know this is a big if. It's not just like, but we're favored by 7 this week against Virginia. Jeff Brom's made a habit of winning the types of games like the one that we're going to have a couple of weeks in Miami. If we win the next 2 weeks, we're unranked right now. So we're not really on no one's talking about us as a playoff team. If we win the next 2 weeks, we go from not being talked about as a playoff team to people kind of expecting us to be in the playoff.
Yeah, we have the best ACC wins at that point.
And we'll be favored in every single remaining game. The one that people will circle is that Clemson game, and who knows what the hell's going to happen to Clemson in the coming weeks. Their
duty.
They may just fold. You never know. I think they'll show signs of life, and they'll be a tough game for us, but they could also just be last year's Florida State. So, I mean, the moment for us, I think we all thought it was going to be, we knew the Miami game, and then we were looking at Clemson and SMU. The moment for this team to kind of be we can be more than what you think. It's now. Like this is the time. These next 2 games, you win these, then all of a sudden people are like, oh, damn. Like Louisville will be a top 15, top 10 team, and people will be saying we got the inside track to the playoff. Let's go. Texture says, we are still PGU and RBU.
We are.
We're definitely point guard U. We might be kicker U at this point. Special teams U. Texture says, do we have any idea why Pitt quit blitzing us? I assume it was fatigue, but for us as well as it was working, I'm shocked they weren't just throwing 3rd and 4th stringers at us.
They knew we were throwing the ball.
I mean, we were going 5 wide with the tight end. At a certain point, it becomes a numbers game. If you think that we're not, like, they had to have linebackers in the middle to protect the run, but they have, like, you got to have
them up over the middle too.
You got to have linebackers matched up against tight ends and wide receivers when you've got 5 receivers out there. Like, we were just spreading them out and saying, if you're going to blitz us, cool. We're going to hit the hot route right up the gut for 10 yards, and they finally had to adjust, and like that's the main reason. Texas, I learned on Saturday that it's not how you drive, it's how you arrive. Yeah, who said that? It was the play-by-play guy. Apparently, was a kicker in high school, and so he was taken up for the kickers, and he gave that line, said, it's not how you drive, it's how you arrive. Basically, it doesn't matter how the kick looks as long as it goes through the uprights. That's the only thing that matters.
I think Acho said it again on a Tayon Holloway pass breakup.
It's like you can't claim that as yours, Acho. If the play-by-play guy threw that out there, you can't steal it. It's a kicker's phrase. I did like that phrase. Texas, finally, I'm not alone with all the positive talk about this football team. Let's keep it rolling. Go Cards. Props to you, positivity guy. It was a weekend for you to shine. Texas IB's blocking really hurt us. I hope that's because of the injury. If you're out there, man, like you can't avoid contact. If you've got
if you're going to do the shoulder lunge block, you at least got to hit the guy in his chest.
Man, I mean,
too many guys just sideswiped him, Mike.
Yeah, he looked like he was avoiding contact. If you've got an ankle injury, but you're going to play,
tape it up and go out there and fight.
You gotta give your body up for the pass play, and he did not look willing to give his body up. And at a certain point, like Duke Watson, whatever was going on the week before, I don't know. He was out there willing to take hurts. He was playing hurt very clearly.
I felt like he was getting hit hard too.
He was, man. He was getting licked. Like, so if you're Isaac Brown, I mean, at a certain point, if you're Jeff and the staff, like you got to go with whoever's willing to like die for a win. And if it's not going to be Isaac, if it's not going to be whoever, You can't play him because, like, I guess you could say, like, the threat of having Isaac back there helped the offense, but when it came to actual production, he wasn't helping us in the running game. He wasn't helping us in the passing game. Like, he was hurting us when he was out there. We were better when Duke was out there and when, the one drive Colin Lacey was back there. Sometimes we were going without running backs. Like, if you're not well enough to block, don't play. Like, that's what it is. Texas Card Chronicle meetup in Vegas. Ooh, I'd like that.
I still need to go.
We're playing. We'll talk more about it tomorrow, but we're playing in that Players Era Festival for the next 4 years on Thanksgiving week.
Starts next year?
Starts 2026, yeah. So we got, we have 4 years to make Thanksgiving plans in Vegas.
And we're going to make money from this trip?
$1 million, at least.
That's pretty cool.
I don't hate it. Seems like a smart move. I mean, the purist in me is sad that what's happening to the Maui Invitational, the battle for Atlantis.
But you're going to have quad one opportunities to start the season off.
I mean, at least 3. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. I'm very glad to hear that we got ourselves in there. 32 teams starting in 2 years. 18 teams this year. Texas Tutu Atwell broke the Colts' hearts yesterday. That was a hell of a play. Wow, glad the Reds made the playoffs, but Ravens are getting to we don't talk about them territory. Also, we're favored by 7.5. Is their quarterback hurt or something? I think he is a little dinged up.
It opened up at 7, though.
It opened up at 7 and has gone up since then to 7.5. So, I mean, it's also like the Bill Connolly's S&P has us winning the game by 9.5. So the part of this is the computers aren't buying Virginia, and they're bigger on us after the way we played on Saturday than they were going into the weekend. Like, there were a lot of computers that thought we were going to lose the game against Pitt or thought we were going to win by 1, 2, 3 points. And us going on the road and winning by 7, I think, has flipped the numbers a little bit. But it does seem like a high line. I mean, we also have to remember, like, they lost to an NC State team that very clearly isn't good. NC State got blown out by Duke. They lost to a Virginia Tech team that has, like, 7 guys not playing and a lame duck coach now. That's a bad loss for Virginia in hindsight. I'm kind of surprised that Virginia got ranked. It's like people just overlooked that because, like, 35-31 at NC State, that's not that bad. It's like NC State sucks.
I feel like all those teams in that 23, 24, 25 spot were really susceptible to moving heavily, and because they just beat the number 8 team, that's all it was.
I think you're right. Texas, considering the competition leading up to the Pitt game, it's not surprising that we had such a slow start. I'm beyond excited with how we battled back. I'm expecting a better start against Virginia. Evan Ingram eats tonight. First TD and 2 touchdowns overall. Ooh.
Evan Ingram? Wasn't he just hurt last week, though?
He's always hurt.
Yeah, he does.
He's good when he's healthy. Texture says, I think we don't have to give up on the running game, but it's clear the offense is infinitely better with the shotgun and 4 wideouts rather than trying to force a run-off tackle behind center. I think Brom should keep Moss in the shotgun, mix in a draw with Brown, or use him as the safety valve on tight coverages and maybe give Watson a shot at tight end in this set. I don't want us to keep hammering in on trying standard handoffs behind center when the O-line just cannot block and we're constantly in 3rd and long. We saw Moss cook with slot passes in the coverage hold. Use that as the base going forward and set up the running game out of the set. I kind of agree with this.
I'm not mad at it.
I mean, this was something that we had not shown before this game, and it essentially won us this game. And if defenses have to adjust moving forward to say, well, we can't just give them 7 yards per pass play on pitch and catches, then maybe that's what's finally going to be the thing that opens up the running game for us.
I also kept having a thought, Mike, where I'm just thinking, like, what could they do to change things, like, creatively out of this run game to make things happen? How would you, like, was there any chance we start direct snapping to our backs?
Little wildcat action?
Yeah.
We've done it before. I think we did it with Isaac a couple times last year in short yardage situations. I mean, the problem is if Isaac's not fully healthy, then he doesn't have the explosiveness to, because those are plays where you're going to take a hit. And
Colin's willing to take a hit.
Colin is willing to take a hit.
He went out there.
He'd be good back there.
3rd and 2. I want to see that maybe on our side.
That's not a bad idea at all.
In the red zone potentially. I wouldn't be mad at that.
I'm not mad at that at all. I think it's a great idea. Seriously, hey Mike, Saturday's game was bizarre, especially when ESPN kept coming back from a studio update and the music kept playing while the announcers were muted. It happened more than once.
Nothing new from TV. Nothing new from TV.
A terrible broadcast. First of all, it looked like it was being filmed on a flip phone. I thought it was my TV. I kept adjusting it, but every other channel was fine. It got a little bit better in the second half, but like the first quarter, it was like one of those grainy videos that
It was every 10 minutes.
It was terrible. It was like when your friend sends a text and the video gets compacted, and you're like, oh, what the hell is it? Why does this look so bad? And then, yeah, like every throwback, they had like that terrible background jingle on for like 5 minutes when they were trying to call the game. I was like, what the hell is going on? It was a terrible broadcast. So shout out to the noon ESPN2 games. We're on ESPN2 again this week, by the way, but at least it's at 3:30. Take this long-time texter, first-time listener. Stop doing this. Heard you talking about changing routines for the game. I have to say I had my window shades closed in the first half. I left the room to do something at halftime, and my wife opened the shades. I don't think more needs to be said. Props to your wife. Save the damn season. Well done. Texas, I'm a Louisville fan living here in Pittsburgh. I can tell you from living here that Pitt fandom is very, very small, limited to a small amount of alum that still care about the current students. The Louisville fans that were there made ourselves heard. Pitt fans are more or less there just to kill some time on a Saturday afternoon. I really don't think they care if they win or lose. I felt the same way attending the basketball game this past year. I think that's a pretty accurate.
Steelers County, Mike. They don't not worried about
It's a pro sports city.
Not worried about Pitt.
Now when they're good, they get fans of their game. Like when Pitt basketball was rolling, they had a pretty good home court advantage, but that's largely because the students are fully engaged. Yeah, I mean I don't think there are many people up there that care more about Pitt Panthers football than they do Steelers football. So it is what it is. Texas, what are the odds that Louisville goes 12-0 this year percentage-wise? Okay, what would you put a 12-0 run at percentage-wise for us right now?
9%.
I was going to say 5. I mean, probably better than it was before the season started.
There's really no telling what that crowd's going to be like in Miami on a Friday night.
The odds go up extremely if we win the next 2 weeks. I feel like goes without saying. Texas, I've got so many issues with this team and staff. We are lucky Pitt is a disaster. This is someone's first text since September 30th last year where they said the loss is mostly on Jeff Brom. He looked frazzled so many times on the sidelines, gaff after gaff. At least he's texting back in after a win.
Locked back in.
Still not happy. Texas, so many issues. Oh, I just read that. Texas, Tigers versus Reds World Series. Let's get it. I'll take it. Texas, the best development in Saturday's game was the chemistry between Moss and Lacey on the hot route. Yep, we already had that. Texas says, while everyone in Louisville was watching Chiefs Ravens to cheer on Lamar, Chris the Plumber was watching to cheer on Harrison Butker. Leave Chris alone. Texas, I'm beyond thrilled about the 2025-26 basketball season coming up. My one question is countering pressing teams like UVA, NC State, and especially if we unfortunately face the modern king of the full court press and Rick Pitino at St. John's. I could tell that was stalwart.
Yep.
That's our guy.
UVA's going to press this year?
I mean, yeah, with what's his name? The new coach.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's his defense.
Odom, yeah. Texture says, beyond Mark Stoops looks like if Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar had a baby.
I can see that.
I can see it. Texas, I had to change my pants twice during the football game. Once I crapped during Miller's pick six, and you can guess what happened when Miller tossed that time to Nate Kariski. By the way, when the UK running back spiked the football into the fan, it was actually Lenore Sellers' grandpa.
It was an older person.
Was it really?
Yeah, he had to he had to dodge. He had to dodge the ball.
It hit him. It clipped him in the shoulder for sure. Man. Texture says, I'm still not sold on this team. I feel like we're going to learn a lot on Saturday.
I feel like we've been saying that for 4 weeks now.
I feel like if we win on Saturday against Virginia, but it looks kind of ugly, this texture is going to say the exact same thing. We'll find out next Friday against Miami. Let's get it going. Texture says, are you going to talk about the Ryder Cup? No. I mean,
cool they gave themselves a chance.
Can I say something, though? I didn't really care that the Americans lost. I like the European.
I don't think you really thought they were going to.
I mean, the home team usually wins in this. I root for most of those European players. I like a lot. I like more of the guys.
You like Shane Lowry?
I kind of do like Shane Lowry.
I don't know if I like him, Mike.
I mean, we were our fans were making asses out of themselves.
That was bad.
I mean, it was hard to not understand where if the roles were reversed and European fans were treating our players that way, we would have been like, hell yeah, tell them to shut the F up and all this stuff. As the week went on, and we were just getting our asses handed to us, like I kind of found it hard to care that much about the American team losing. I think a lot of losers on that team is all I'll say. Some losers on the European team, but I couldn't get too into it. And then like the dramatic stuff was happening on Sunday. I'm watching Reds and NFL. I couldn't get that into it after the disastrous Friday morning. Texas says, what are your thoughts on Paul Feinbaum becoming a senator? Do you see this?
I did not.
So Bruce Pearl not going to run for that about to be vacated Senate seat in Alabama. Paul Feinbaum is saying he might leave ESPN and run for the Republican representative in the Alabama State Senate or U.S. Senate.
So what's Bruce Pearl going to do?
Work at Auburn apparently and watch his son tank the program.
Interesting.
Yeah. Texture says, can we also give Ron English his props so far this year? He's been great. No way around it.
It's been good.
He's been...
Won't say great.
Very good. Close to great. Texture says, Crystal Plummer said, woke-ass Super Bowl halftime show. They could have literally chose anybody else. Get off my damn lawn. Why is it woke? Just because he's Latino? Come on.
I don't want a Spanish halftime show.
They got to sing in English. Texas, can the ball boy please lead the team out of the tunnel on Saturday? I think that's too much.
Yeah. Jeff leads them out.
I think at that point you run the risk of being like the McNeese basketball team where it went a little too far. But pressing the big button, I'm good with that. Texas says we're 25th in ESPN's power rankings. I'll take that. I feel like I don't care where we are right now. If we win the next 2 weeks, everything will take care of itself. If we beat Virginia, we're going to be ranked after that. If we beat Miami, we're probably going to be ranked somewhere in the top 15. Either way, we're going to be undefeated, 6-0 with everything in front of us and a very manageable schedule in the second half of the season. The one thing that I do get concerned about is, our schedule, the ACC has the dumbest football schedule setup imaginable. We had a bye in week 3 after we played nobody, and now we have a bye again after this week's game against Virginia, and then we play 7 straight games without a bye, including 2 on short rest. I do worry about us getting, if we have injuries, there's no time to heal up. If we have guys that are just feeling the fatigue, there's no time for them to get that rest, get their legs back. Texas Jeff definitely listens to the show. He heard our non-QB sneak complaints last week, and now we ran 2 on Saturday, and 1 was for a touchdown. Thank you, Jeff. Oh, yeah, Jeff loves the show. He's listening right now. Texas, we surveyed 100 men. What would a sloppy offensive guard with an arm sleeve say when trash talking? F you, Roosters. You effing suck. Ding, number 1 answer. It was aggressive.
It was.
I get the game had gotten a little bit.
It was immediate, too. He went from clapping with his guys and the fans. And
he's giving the thumbs up to the fans.
As soon as his eyes got on the Louisville side, that were clapping him off the field.
Yeah, a bunch of guys were like, hey, man, go get him, buddy. And he's like, bleep you. I hope you all rot in hell.
Bleep you, 23.
Crystal Plummer says, I love the Spaniards. That's not how you spell Spaniards. Also, Bad Bunny's not Spanish. I believe technically he's American. He's Puerto Rican. Right?
He's Puerto Rican, yeah.
I'm not wrong about that, right? Just make sure. I'm 99% sure he's from Puerto Rico. Yeah, he's Puerto Rican. He's American, for God's sake. Texas, what do you think of the guy flipping off Tommy Castellanos? I think the guy's a loser. It's too much. Did you see that?
I saw a tweet about it.
He rushes the field during the throw and gets right in his face, takes a picture of himself, giving the middle finger right in his face. Come on.
Did you see the Virginia field rush?
Yeah, it was insane.
That was ridiculous. Aren't they supposed to get fined for that now?
They did get fined. I got a little bit anxious watching that. It was kind of...
Yeah, I saw some tweet about somebody, pretty terrible joke about the receiver who was...
it looked like he got swallowed up.
It was like a joke trying to act like he died or something, a serious tweet.
Yeah. All right, we got to go real quick. Monday Night Football tonight. Jets, Dolphins, Miami, the 2.5-point favorite. Who you got?
Jets win.
I think the Jets win, too. Jets straight up. Bengals, Broncos, Denver, 7.5-point favorites at home. Big spot for the Bengals. Who you got?
Denver's going to win here.
Denver wins since he covers. You like that?
I like it.
All right. We have to get out of here?
We do.
All right. Dalton Pence, Mondays. Up next, 90 more minutes of UL Sports Talk. Keep it locked right here. I'm back tomorrow at 2:30. Go Cards.
Go Cards.
Go Reds. The Mike Rutherford Show was brought to you by United Mechanical. John Burke's United Mechanical is your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration.